Yo, what's happening, Magic players? I am your hype boy, PR Sign.
I'm Carl. How's it going?
And we're coming to you live on Mount Gall. This is Magic the Gathering at Lotus, and we're going to have a wonderful time commentating some modern Magic.
Yes, we are. It looks like they're already starting on round one here.
Round one, do you understand, do you know what decks they're playing this go-round?
So right now it looks like it's just Izzet versus what I would assume be Jund to start off. So right here we have Dragon Rage Chandler off the bat with Ari playing Izzet. And then Marcus, of course, what I'm assuming again is Jund with that is Blood Crypt and Overgrown Tomb. So yeah, that is very indicative of Jund right now.
Jund right there. And you know what Jund is also indicative of is going to the mats.
Yeah.
So we're going to head to the mats right here, and it looks like they've already been taking some damage a little bit. We got 20 points on AJ. We got 17 on Marcus, and Marcus right now had to reveal his hand, it looks like.
Vice versa, AJ had to reveal his hand.
AJ revealed his hand. Ooh, That's right. So AJ revealed his hand. So what card was played in order to allow him to see his opponent's hand like that?
Inquisition of Kozilek. It looked like Marcus was playing the Japanese art because he's stylish like that, but he ended up taking Explosive Iteration right there, which is a pretty good take.
Ooh, Explosive Iteration. That
stage, and then one card goes to the bottom of the deck.
Oh, okay, I got you right there. But it looks like he's down to 14 right now. Those Shocklands are putting in some type of work. I mean, it looks like he's got 3. He's tapping 3. And he's going to go ahead and play a Planeswalker. And I don't know what this Planeswalker actually does.
So that's Grist, the Tidehunger. So it's +1 is he mills a card and he generates an insect token, a 1/1 insect. -3, he sacrifices a creature. After he sacrifices that creature, he's able to destroy target opponent's creature or Planeswalker. And then the last ability is each opponent loses X life, where X is the number of cards in Marcus's grave.
Oh, I got that. You know what? And the thing about all card games, that board removal. You got to have board removal in order for these card games to go into your favor. You need hand advantage. You need
be too bad to start right now.
Gotcha. Well, it looks like, we got tapping a blue. And it looks like he's going to be playing that card, which is going to allow him to draw a card right there. And then I guess Scry? Is that what he did?
Yeah, Scry 2. So that's Serum Visions. Draw a card to start and then Scry 2. It is effectively a modern staple cantrip, just because there's literally nothing better in modern. There's a lot better cantrips in the history of Magic, but that's about as good as it gets for modern at a 1-drop pace.
And and I just actually realized too, because I'm building a commander deck, and I've been tweaking it for a long time. And it's red blue as well. And I was told it's an Izzet deck, and it didn't really dawn on me until one of the cards I actually play in the deck is actually, I think, Izzet Charm. And I was just like, oh my goodness, is this where they get it from?
Yep. So that's the original color pairing. That's the original name. It stems from Guilds of Ravnica. Each color pair was named after a specific guild. And the red-blue guild, of course, is Izzet. The green-black one is Golgari. But what Jund is playing right now, what Marcus is playing right now is Jund. And that actually stems from another plane called Alara, where there are different shards. And the shard pairing that ended up being green, black, red is called Jund.
Okay, so green, black, red is called Jund. It's not like a specific thing where the play is actually destroying your opponent's lands.
No.
Oh, okay. Because the last time I had someone play a card on me and it was destroy all islands, and I was like, what? And then people were telling me he played Jund, so I was just like, oh, okay, so Jund must mean island destruction.
No, that's just a card called Boil that Jund plays on sideboards sometimes. Right now, it looked like AJ, of course, played Ragavan, but Marcus countered, of course, with a Kolaghan's Command to deal 2 damage to the Ragavan, and I'm assuming having AJ discard a card if Marcus didn't regrow something.
There's that amazing counter spell right there that was used, and it's just tap 2 islands to play a counter target spell, and you got that picture of that dude that's just exploding with energy. I like that card a lot.
And of course, on those cards that are modal like that, you have to choose the modes first and declare them before your opponent can decide whether or not they want to counter the card. So AJ let Marcus declare his modes there, and of course, Counterspell is just like, no, I don't like those modes. Kolaghan's Command can go to the grave. So.
Oh, okay, so he has to declare, so when you say modes, it's like declare your targets or declare what ability you're going to use?
On modal cards like that, you have to declare what abilities in the mode you utilize before the spell resolves itself, or before your opponent lets the spell resolve. So.
Gotcha. Oh man, see a lot of new information that I'm learning right here. And hey, I know this happened just 7 minutes. Oh, is that shock?
No, that's a lightning bolt. That's better.
Oh, a lightning bolt. It does 1 more damage, doesn't it? So for 1 red, we do 3 damage. Hey, it's not bad at all. He's going to go ahead and swing in, and it looks like we got a block happening. Is that what happened?
Yeah, so AJ killed Marcus's 2 insectile tokens, which were the only threats against Ragavan. He used an Unholy Heat and a Lightning Bolt to do that.
Right.
He then left Marcus with only his 1-drop, 0/1, which is one of the few things in the game that can't kill Ragavan right now. And he just blocked with that just so he didn't get extra value off of Marcus's deck, because Marcus being Jund, and big Jund at that, has a lot of extra value in his deck. So he has a lot of 4-drops and stuff that AJ can utilize, and Marcus definitely does not want him to do that.
Gotcha. Hey, look how wonderful this community is. Did you see what AJ did? He passed Marcus an insect token right there. This next time he needed to use that. That's nice right there. But it looks like Marcus is down to 11 life as opposed to his opponent AJ at 17 life. And we're going to go ahead and see what AJ does, because it is his turn right there. And it looks like he's going to be casting a card.
No, that's a Tarmogoyf, and he more than likely took that off the Ragavan. So he ended up, as you said, casting that. So right now, AJ does have access to that Tarmogoyf, which is definitely one of the bigger threats in Marcus's deck. That's not something that Marcus wanted to happen, that's for sure.
Ah, I got you right there. And just before I forget, we had Brandon Smith end up following us. Much love to you. I appreciate you for following us here on Mount Gall. And it looks like, is that Tarmogoyf? Is that what you said? Tarmogoyf. He's a 5/6, it looks like. I remember that card, but I don't remember too much of what it does. I think it just gains +1/+1 for every different type of card in the drop area?
Effectively.
PR Sign is remembering a little bit. But he's swinging in, and it looks like Marcus is down to 4 life, and his opponent is at 17. Oh, we got the... Oh, that's my girl right there. Liliana of the Veil. Go ahead and spit out what the effects are, boy.
So, Liliana of the Veil, of course, +1. Each player discards a card. -2. Target opponent sacrifices a creature, and then -6. Marcus takes his opponent's permanent, splits them into 2 piles, and then as your opponent, you get to choose one of those piles, and the other pile gets sent to the grave. So her ultimate doesn't get used that often. It's realistically her plus and her minus that get utilized, but unfortunately, Marcus did lose there because that's not the card he wanted.
That is unfortunate. We actually have to go into scoop phase right there. But there are more to come in this round. We got, because of Modern Magic, I didn't even know it's a best of 3 right there. Best of 3 is actually really good. I actually kind of wish that best of 3s happened in Dragon Ball Super and on other card games as well. Because, I mean, you can get the upper hand on one game if you just don't see the cards, and it's just like, oh man, I done lost already, and I don't have a chance to get the prizings or whatnot. So now that we're talking about that, what type of prizings are there for Magic? Are there any like tournament packs? Are there any like promos that you guys get?
It depends on the store and the facility. Before COVID happened, you would get packs, you'd get store credit, you get F&M cards. Since COVID happened, unfortunately, a lot of that stopped. So there's Flesh and Blood and Dragon Ball Super are getting a lot more support right now. Wizards is kind of taking their time with COVID. They haven't even confirmed the Pro Tour's return or any of the Grand Prix yet. We're hoping that eventually happens, but as of right now, nothing's scheduled for next year. So.
Well, fingers crossed, because Wizards, being one of the oldest guys in the card game business, knows what they're doing. They know a little bit about the card game. They understand, and man, you know, there's a lot of things that people just love about the game. One of them being the art, man. The art on the cards are phenomenal, and 2, the wording. I don't think I've ever heard a complaint about any type of wording on cards because they're so specific. I mean, of course, we're gonna have judge rulings for, you know, how does this work on the stack and this, but it is pretty plain, like blatantly obvious what the card is trying to do.
Usually there are occasions, like you mentioned, a couple of red herrings here or there, and usually that involves like the EDH community once you get like 20 different cards on the stack. But for the most part, it is pretty cut and dry when it comes to those sort of things.
Ah, gotcha. So now we know they each know what they're playing. They're actually siding right now, and so I wouldn't actually know what type of cards they would siding against each other. I know the Chalice maybe you'll side in there because I guess when you play it, however many energies you play for, that type of that mana cost can't be played and lower, or.
So how Chalice of Void works is it's XX. I pay 2 mana into it. Chalice of Void comes into play with 1 counter on it.
Okay.
Anything that costs 1 is countered unless your opponent accidentally lets it through. But it shouldn't be that, because you should always say one drop countered, one drop countered. If it doesn't happen, then you forgot to counter it.
AGS right there. I like to call that. Down here in H-Town, that's accepted game state. For those of you that have not watched the first time that we came on, this is the second time that we're streaming Magic. And of course, you know, I'm new. I got a green thumb right here, but my boy here is a veteran, Carl, and he's actually the go-to guy, the encyclopedia that is helping out. I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for you, I don't think the stream would have had any type of sustenance last go around. That's why, you know, whenever we had the chance, I messaged you on Facebook and I said, look, man, the amount of great quality interactions that we have with you, I have to get you on here every single time I commentate for Magic, because I might be able to bring the hype, but you know, I always understand in every card game and every stream, you got to have some type of information that the audience can take from these streams. So I definitely want to thank you for joining us tonight here on Mount Golf.
Yeah, not a problem. Always happy to help with that sort of thing, and it always helps explaining the interactions and stuff like that. So, observing games, I think, is also another way that you become a better player as well.
Observing games and also heading to the mats. Mm-hmm. So we're going, and it looks like we have the same play happening again, where we got Marcus having AJ reveal the hand, and then what did he take out of the hand right there?
So that's Relic Progenitus. That's a sideboard card AJ more than likely brought in to hate against Marcus's Tarmogoyf. Because Relic says tap, exile a target card from opponent's graveyard, or you may pay one and exile everyone's graveyard.
Okay.
So that is a good way to keep Tarmogoyf and Marcus's other cards, like Croxo right there, in check.
Oh, nice right there. That way you check the graveyard, because you know what? I've noticed that a lot of meta decks actually can play off of the graveyard. You know, I dabbled in Yu-Gi-Oh! A little bit, and man, whenever they had the grass was greener and they started milling and playing stuff from the graveyard, oh man, that was annoying. And looking at what's happening here in Magic too, how they have to side stuff to get rid of graveyard. Oh, it looks like he's ended up playing the card that he actually got, that Marcus got rid of in turn 1.
Yep. So that's just part of our game. So with our sideboards, it doesn't have to be a singleton sideboard unless you want it to be. You could have a max of up to X copies, X being 4 usually, of a single card.
Oh, okay.
So more than likely, AJ has 2 to 3 Relic Progenitus in his sideboard. If he doesn't, he has some combination of Relic Progenitus, possibly Soul Guide, Lantern, or other graveyard removal cards.
Oh, I see right there. Well, it looks like both opponents are at 19 lives apiece, and we got another searcher happening here. Man, those shocklands, they put in a lot of work, but at the same time, if you don't see what you're trying to look for, it helps out your opponent, because you're just killing yourself pretty much.
Yeah, but there's whole deck strategies against that utilize that strategy. One of them is Death Shadow. The goal of that deck is to get below 13 life, because you play a 1-drop that has 13 total power and toughness, and its ability is it gets -X, whereas X is your current life total.
Ah, okay.
So the lower you go, the closer you are to victory.
Oh, okay, so I see that, you know, sometimes you can build decks that actually play on the fact that you're hitting yourself with life.
Yep.
Oh, this guy, okay, I remember this card, the TV, man, but I don't remember what the TV does. I guess sacrifice and scry, I think?
So you sacrifice Mishra's Bauble. You can look at either the top of your deck or the top of your opponent's deck.
Ah, okay.
And it just gains you information, but the kicker is Mishra's Bauble allows you to draw a card at the beginning of the next upkeep. So ideally you do it on your opponent's end step, get information, or get information for yourself if you're going to fetch, and find out what you need, and then you draw a card or fetch or proceed to shuffle, that sort of thing. It really can be utilized in a lot of different ways, so the card is highly versatile, and there are some talks about the card being banned at some point, but as of right now, it's still good in the format. So.
Gotcha. Well, it looks like he plays the 2 serpents that go at it. Is it Fire and Ice, or what card is that right there?
That's Expressive Iteration, as mentioned before, so again, that card is going to exile. Look at the top 3 cards. He exiles 1, he puts 1 into his hand, and he puts 1 to the bottom of his deck. That is arguably the best cantrip in Modern right now, because it gets you a lot of information. It gets you 2 cards and effectively removes another card from the stack that you potentially don't want. So ideally, you exile a land with it, play the land, you have a card in hand that's just value, and then you put a card that you don't want to the bottom of the deck.
And you know what? It just goes to show you that saying, deck thinning is deck winning. The more you can go through the deck, the more you can actually stack what you need, leave it on top, and the cards you don't need, put it on the bottom or the drop area or exile. It just gets you that much closer to defeating your opponent.
Yep. And so right there we see Marcus, I believe, playing Boyle, but that's not going to last because no, it did. So Boyle did hit, and I thought AJ was tapping. So all of AJ's islands are destroyed, and AJ's in a really rough spot right now.
Oh my! Oh, he played the card that one guy played against me. Oh! Oh man, that you hate to see it happen, but at the same time, that makes for excitement right there.
Yep.
Woo! Oh, I almost just dropped these cards. Woo! Oh man, all his islands are gone. Now he's already ahead of the game because he has more mana, and that alone in this game is really really good. Because I mean, just having that mechanic where you have to have specific cards for mana makes it difficult. Now that you have to reestablish your mana, AJ is gonna be coming from behind the power curve, man.
Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But we just saw actually Marcus get even more value by playing a card that cascades. The way cascades work is that card that he played is called Bloodberry Elf. It is a 4-drop 3/2 with haste and cascade. So he reveals the top X cards of his deck until he reveals a card that costs less than the X cascade spell, which was 4, and he had a Renin 6 off that. So that's incredibly good value off that. AJ unfortunately cast Ragavan with Dash, and he got a Grist off that. So Marcus isn't going to have access to Grist, the Tide Hollow anymore, or the Tide Hunger, but instead that card is now exiled. We know that AJ has a Ragavan in his hand. We also see Marcus playing engineered explosives right there. Probably going to be on 1, I imagine, just so he has a way to deal with Ragavan at instant speed.
Right.
But I could be wrong.
Oh, okay, I got you. So the keyword skill that you had stated earlier was Dash. Is that another way of saying Flash?
No, Dash is a way of saying I'm going to have expensive haste.
Expensive.
Expensive haste, effectively. So you pay X to give the card haste, effectively, and then it does its combat tricks or does whatever it's going to do onto the battlefield, and then at the end of the turn, that card comes back to your hand.
Ah, guerrilla warfare. I see. Hey, you know what? Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and guerrilla warfare can be an actual... I mean, it can be a strategy, too, because in other card games, you play the card, you hit, and then it comes back to hand, and so it's never on the field vulnerable to board wipes.
Yep. That's another reason why a lot of people like Dash is that card isn't vulnerable to board wipes, but you do have to consistently recast the creature, and sometimes it does leave it open to counters or other abilities that might affect Dash.
That is true. There you go right there. He's going to play that card, and he's going to be cycling. He's looking at his cards and figuring out what goes to hand, and the rest, I believe, the drop area?
So 1 again goes to exile, and he's playing that card in the exile. 1 went to the bottom of his deck, and 1 card went to hand. So
you can play it from exile if you wish. Oh, that's even better.
Yep, there's a reason why that card's arguably the best cantrip again in Modern. And we see AJ going to Dash there again. Or no, he's just outright playing the Ragavan. So he might not have any basics left in his deck to actually search. So he just played the Ragavan, and unfortunately... it looks like the Ragavan died.
Man, that's very smart right there. Okay, so you warp 1, you add 1 to hand, and then you could play the one that's in exile till the end of the turn or till the end of your next turn?
Till the end of the turn.
Till the end of the turn, which is actually really good because you could just, like he did, just warp a land and then play the land. Woohoo! That was nice right there. Hey, yo, we got B Vic on the horn right there. We got Crush Him AJ. Ooh, all right, well, so we got some people that are actually for AJ right there. All right, I see. But we got that Planeswalker there that has 5 loyalty counters, and it looks like Marcus is going to go ahead and tap 4 to play.
It should be another Blood Parade Elf, and it is, so Marcus is going to get another Cascade. And it looks like that is an Inquisition of Kozilek that he cascaded into, so...
Oh, he gets to see his hand again!
He has 3 choices. He can take the Ragavan, Expressive Iteration, or Engineered Explosives. I think personally I would go towards the Ragavan, leave AJ without anything, but he decided to go with Expressive Iteration.
Expressive Iteration, too good, man, too good.
Card's fair. Right now he also has that 3/2 with haste, so Marcus is probably going to swing that. There's no reason to hold that back. Unfortunately, he had a Murktide Drake in hand, and Jund will have a very difficult time dealing with that Murktide Drake because it is a 7-drop that is going to get flying, and it's going to get stronger, potentially depending on what kind of instants and sorceries AJ has in his grave that he's willing to exile right now.
Well, we'll see if AJ can bring him out right now, but right now we got AJ at 14 lives. We have Marcus at 13 lives, and it looks like, just by the looks of what's been happening and what's been going on, I think Marcus might have the upper hand, but with what you were saying, if AJ can pull the card that he needs, it might be game for him.
It might. I also think, unless they're holding their hands really steadily, it might have froze.
Oh no, it froze! It froze! How do we do this? We're gonna go ahead and transition in and out. Transition in and out. No, it's still frozen. Oh man, we got a problem, people. We got a problem. No! Oh,
there it is.
There we go. There we go. All right.
So we missed a couple of the plays, but it looks like AJ did what I thought he was going to do. He played that Murktide Drake, which is going to be a very difficult card for Marcus to deal with. And he also played Engineered Explosives on 2, which is going to deal with that Renin 6. That Murktide Drake is going to easily beat that Bloodbraid Elf. So right now Marcus is looking for a card that can kill that Murktide Drake. The first card that comes to mind, unfortunately, is Maelstrom Pulse, and I don't know if he kept that in his deck or not.
Oh, we'll see. It looks like he's going to be tapping some mana, so he taps 2 to play.
Oh, there's a Terminate.
Oh, Terminate! So he got rid of the card, right?
Yep.
Wow, so tap 2 though. It's very not so expensive.
No. So that's the benefit of Jund. It's arguably the fairest, one of the most expensive fair decks in all of Modern. Just because it's usually trading cards as a 1-for-1 and it's winning off of tempo based or just controlling the field. Really depends on the build. And right now, that was a Thoughtseize, so Marcus is going to get to have a look at AJ's hand potentially again, rip a card out, which looks like he already did. And Marcus right now is firmly in the driver's seat. I believe the only card, unless AJ played it while it was frozen, is that Ragavan, but I could be wrong because I see a Ragavan in the top of his grave right there.
It looks like Marcus threw the limp wrist right there. We got an AJ about ready to see what he can do this turn. He has 8 lives. His opponent has 11 lives right now. And man, he's playing. And it looks like he's playing the card that he played earlier in the game. But man, right now I still don't remember what that card does.
So that's Dragon Rage Chandler. As long as he has 4 different card types in grave, he's going to have flying and he's going to have +2/+2.
Flying +2/+2. So Delirium. It has Delirium. Okay.
Yes, and it has to attack each turn. Now, he can only block with it once this turn, but it looks like right now AJ just decided to pop that Engineered Explosives on 2 just to deal with that Renin 6.
Oh, so board removal. I'm telling you, it goes back to board removal right there. You got to remove your opponent's field. And it looks like he throws the limp wrist right there. And now it's Marcus's turn at 10 lives. His opponent at 8 lives. Man, he's been drawn into his mana.
Yes. They're both a little flooded right now. AJ a little bit less so because he got boiled earlier. It really depends on what Marcus is able to do.
He's tapping. Oh, I thought he was tapping for something. Ooh, what can he play that he has to tap that much mana for?
Nothing really. Marcus has access to his complete deck as soon as he hits 4 mana. There's nothing really in his deck above 4. Right now, I think he's just kind of getting his mana in order, just for argument's sake, because if I had to guess, he's probably got a removal spell in hand and he's got nothing else better to do.
Oh, it looks like he does have only 1 card in hand. So, I mean, now he's just top decking pretty much at this point. His opponent right now looks like he has a few cards in hand, but has 4 mana. So I'm thinking that he can actually do a little bit of something just depending on what he has in hand right there.
Yep. They both have access to their complete decks. And it looks like we got a card, though. So this is another really good cantrip. What he's going to do is a player's going to mill 2 cards, and AJ's going to draw a card. He can target himself with it. And it looks like he drew that Dragon Rage Chandler off of it as well.
Ooh, got the Chandler again right there. That's a very good series right there. If you haven't seen it, go watch Friends. But Chandler out there is, of course, having Delirium, getting +2/+2, and flying. And then after that, it looks like we're going to pass. And we got Marcus tapping for 4? Tapping for 4 and plays. Oh, hey, what's happening, Key Whitton? I appreciate you following us here on Mountain Gall. Much love to you, boss.
So we see 2 Tarmogoyfs actually just dropped, and Marcus actually paid 5 mana, or a little bit over that, so he could draw another card. And one of those cards, of course, being the extra Tarmogoyf. So that's going to put AJ on a bigger clock, because unfortunately, because of Dragon Rage Chandler's other ability, he's not going to be able to block with that card.
Oh my goodness. So he played 2 of the Term McGraw! And it looks like he's gaining quite a bit more control in this game. Having 10 lives, his opponent's having 8 lives. Oh, he took the damage!
There's no reason not to. Plus the fact that he can't right now. That card flies and those cards don't. So...
Oh, he swung in. What is he doing?
He popped the Relic Progenitus, and so both those cards are now at 0 power. So...
Ooh! He done snuck it in there, huh?
Yeah, effectively. AJ wanted to get in that 3 damage first, and then he exiled the graveyard, so now there's no Delirium. Of course, Marcus can get a 4-drop, a 3-drop. He needs a little something extra just to deal with the present board state at present.
My goodness, it looks like we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. Woo!
Marcus is searching. Jund really doesn't have any search potential outside of fetch land. So right now there's probably a land engrave, and those Tarmogoyfs are 1/2s, which is a bigger clock on AJ than it is on Marcus right now. But there we just saw the engineered explosives pop, and both Tarmogoyfs are now engraved.
Ooh, that is not good right there for Marcus. It looks like AJ right there has the answers. AJ at 8 lives swung in. Now Marcus at 4 lives. Let's see what he top decks. And it looks like he's going to go ahead and tap 3-4. Ah, Liliana. Oh, he got countered. Oh, that counter spell. Oh, man. Oh, my heart.
That might have been Marcus's only out right now, but since the counterspell was up, we see another Archmage Charm there. AJ's going to draw 2 cards more than likely.
Oh, man, and that's that card that, yup, you tap 3 and it has 3 abilities you can choose from. Either to counter to draw 3 or draw 2.
Draw 2, and then the last abilities he gets to gain control of a target creature with mana cost 1 or less. Or target permanent, I'm sorry, non-land permanent.
Oh, it looks like he passed turn right now. Marcus top decking. Let's see what he got. He's going to go ahead and tap for...
Ren and 6.
Oh, Ren and 6. Is it good? It looks like
that's the question. If it is good, that's going to put AJ in a tough spot because that's going to ding the Dragon Rage Chandler. It still does not have Delirium by my count. I think AJ is currently just 1 off, unfortunately.
Oh, man.
Because otherwise, Marcus would have gone to 1 rather than that 3. But we just see Unholy Heat.
Oh, he couldn't stand the heat. Oh, man, it's like he got all
And
the
Dragon
answers.
Rage Chandler just got Delirium. So what happened there was AJ went Unholy Heat. It resolves first. It deals with Ren and 6. But we also have Surveil trigger off Dragon Rage Chandler. So he milled Dragon Rage Chandler, got 3, ended up surviving, and put Marcus firmly behind and AJ in the driver's seat. AJ just did end up winning and closing that match, of course, at 2-0.
Wow, that was very heated. That was going back and forth, and it looked like Marcus was going to take game 2 right there, especially when he wiped out all of his islands. But, another question that I had, because, of course, you know, me coming into Magic, I want to learn as much as I possibly can. So that card said destroy all islands. How come he was still left with 1 dual-color land?
Because that wasn't an island.
Oh, it wasn't an island.
For Boil to work, all the cards specifically have to read the word island on them. Not in the title, but in the type of card. So, an example.
PR sign the hype boy. Hopefully we stop strobing here. But I am PR sign the hype boy. And
Carl, how's it going?
And don't go away. We'll be right back. Yo, what's happening, Magic players? It's your boy, your hype boy, PR Sign, and I'm here with
Carl again. How's it going?
And we're here on Mount Gall, and we are live. Oh man, this is nice. And Mount Gall is just, it just sounds real nice. But of course, it's just the way I say Magic the Gathering at Lotus. Yeah, you see it?
There you go.
It actually works very, very well. But yes, of course, PR Sign, man, I've come into commentate, and I'm trying to commentate a lot more card games. And in Magic, I've just, I've dabbled a little bit into Magic. But of course, I don't know, like, the Magic like the back of my hand, like this man right here. And so what I like about this stream is the fact that, we can just continue talking about it, you with the interactions, with the effects of these cards, and me just throwing out the hype, man. You got the fresh guy, you got the veteran guy, and they're going at it in the stream room, and it looks like we do actually have to change the guys here, because I think is AJ on the other one and then Jay on the other one. So AJ and then Jay right there. Let's go ahead and save it. Boom. And that should be right there. We got AJ. Of course, AJ was playing Izit's last round. And, of course, he took it 2-0. And his opponent, Jay, what do you think Jay is going to be playing?
So Jay's been lately playing a deck called Through the Breach. The goal is to get out a card called Emrakul Aeon's Torrent and just win that way. There's another variation on it. He can use a Planeswalker to do it. There's a couple of different ways. It really depends on how his deck is built, but it is a combo deck, and it can catch several decks off. I think it might catch AJ off one game, but once AJ sees the combo in place, I think we're going to see AJ take it again.
Oh, gotcha. When I think we got 17 minutes ago, we got Coy Whitten right there, followed us here on Mount Gall. Hey, I appreciate you, boss. Much love to you. Thank you for following us here on Mount Gall. And it looks like they're about ready to go ahead and proceed to the dice rolls and to the mulligans. And of course, dice rolls, whoever wins, they get to choose who goes first and who goes second on the play or on the draw. And then of course the actual mulligans are different from what I remember. The mulligans are nice. You look at your hand. If you don't like your hand, you actually have to shuffle your whole hand into your deck, and it looks like that's exactly what Jay is gonna do. And I don't know, in this tournament, are there the first mulligan, is it free, or do you go straight down to one less card?
It'll be one less card. You still get to see 7 cards, and then you choose one to put back to the bottom of your deck. If you choose to mulligan again, it's 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth, but you always draw 7.
So however many times that you mulligan is that many cards that you put at the bottom of the deck. Oh man, right there. So hopefully you get what you need to see. And in Modern, I don't know what type of lands or how much lands you need to see, but I know playing Commander, you want to see at least 3 lands in your opening hand. Well, how many lands do you want to see in your opening hand this go round?
So it really depends on the deck. Some decks actually do want to see that 1 land potentially. Ideally, I like to keep a 2-land hand and have some number of starting cards with it, and then go from there. So
gotcha. Well, it looks like we got on the horn, we got Brighton Withrow following us here on Mount Gall. Hey, much love to you, boss. Thank you so much. I mean, without the audience, without you guys watching, I mean, there wouldn't be a stream. We're over here doing this because it's hype. We love doing it, man. I love learning more stuff about Magic. I don't know if I would go into Modern per se, because that's expensive right there. Now, I've already used my stimulus checks on other things, but yeah, no, I mean, Commander right now, I'm learning cards that way, and I'm seeing a lot of cards because you can only play 1 card of a certain name in a 100-card deck, so I'll be seeing a lot of cards that way, so it's very good for me coming into the game.
Yeah, Commander's a great way for players to experience a lot of cards cheaply to an extent. There are very expensive Commander decks out there. One of the cheaper decks I have is probably in the $500 range, or one of the more expensive ones I have had in the past. I didn't spend this money outright. This is years and years of collecting. Was at the time worth over $10,000.
Golly! Oh, that's a lot of moolah right there.
It paid for a little bit of college.
Oh yeah, no.
Rest in peace, Shroom.
Yeah. Now, definitely paying for college, and you know what that also means too? We're heading to the match for round 2. So it looks like we got, let me take this one right here. He played Chandler.
Yep.
Yeah, but definitely does not have Delirium right now, because this is right out the gate right there.
Yeah, we might actually be seeing a start to a mirror match. I might have called Jay's deck wrong initially. We'll see, but it's right now. It's Dragon Rage Chandler versus Ragavan. So this is Modern Horizons 2 versus Modern Horizons 2. We see the Ragavan getting taken care of by that Bolt. So we're going to see a Delirium trigger off that Dragon Rage Chandler. Looks like he's gonna not do too much with it. He's gonna play another land that is an island, of course. So we might see opt or something off that. Find out.
Oh man, there's a glare on the points system that they have right there. We're gonna have to see if we can fix that in between the games here. So remember, this is round 2, guys, and each round they are playing 3 or best of 3. That potentially they can play, the max 3 games. But we'll see. AJ took a quick 2 games last time, and look, we got that nice little cycling card right there. Looking 3 cards at. Oh man, there's a boat. I just saw a boat. Oh, that's beautiful. And bolt it deals 2 damage.
It deals 3 damage.
Oh, 3 damage. Oh,
so right there off the bat, that's actually Hollowed Fountain. So we now know that Jay is actually playing Jeskai colors. So that shouldn't be too bad. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to play the bolt off that unless he's got another red source in his hand. But he does enable, I think, pretty close to Delirium right now.
Oh, snap. So he's going to go ahead and swing. And this chick right here, this Chandler only has 1/1, right?
It's a 1/1 until Delirium occurs, in which case it gets +2/+2 and flying.
So then it'll be 3/3, and then it's going to be overhead right there, swinging in. So I see it. And then this card, he's already played it once before in the turn. I'm trying to remember these cards. Oh, but the heat. He couldn't stand the heat. And that deals how much damage to a target creature?
2, unless it has Delirium, in which case it's 6 for the cost of 1.
And it's just target creature or planeswalker, player?
It's target creature. I believe it might hit planeswalkers. I don't play that card too often, but I know for sure it's creature.
Okay, definitely for creature. Golly, very strong right there. Tap 1, deal 2 damage, or if it has Delirium, deal 6 damage right there.
Yeah, I don't know why they made that card instant speed as well. Right now, all we've been seeing play are cards that have been printed within the last year.
Oh, they're just
with the exception of Lightning Bolt.
They're removing each other's feels like nobody's business, man. We got Lightning Bolt here. We got the heat right there. Woo! All right, and then we got the monkey. That's the guerrilla warfare one, right?
Yep, we got Ragavan off the top, and right now it exiled that Murktide Regent. He's not going to be able to play that Murktide Regent, but that is going to exile a threat of AJ's later, which can come back to hurt AJ. Oh no, he is going to play it. I guess he does have enough in his graveyard to make it worth it.
Also, he plays a card, so is that the effect of Abu right there? He swings in, and then you have to exile a card, and then you can play the card?
You can play the card. So, with Ragavan, he exiles the top card of your deck, and he's going to get you a treasure token as well when he deals combat damage to an opponent. So he did have a treasure token and a blue land up, so he was able to play the Murktide Regent because he exiled most of his graveyard. So the Murktide Regent is currently a 5/5. So, unfortunately, AJ is going to need an Unholy Heat to deal with that card. Murktide Regent is just really strong, especially against another Murktide Regent deck.
He would definitely need Unholy Heat. So there's the draw right there in the Scry 2. I remember. I don't got the names memorized, but the effects, when I see the picture, I'll know the effects right there. Oh, there he goes right there. The amazing cycling card. So he's just cycling. So I guess in this turn, he didn't see what he needed to. So now he's just used this whole turn in order to get to the cards that he needs to get.
Yep, he's trying to dig for that Unholy Heat or another blocker. There we see the Ragavan.
Ragavan, that's a different art of Abu? Is that what? Okay, I got you. Oh, so they are playing a mirror match. This is essentially what it is.
Effectively, it's Is It versus Jeskai.
Is It versus Jeskai. Oh, there's the TV right there. So he's going to go ahead. That TV is going to look at either the top of his library or the top of his opponent's library, and then the next turn that he would draw on his upkeep, he'll draw on a card.
Yep.
Okay.
And it looks like we're seeing Ragavan trade for Ragavan there, which is perfectly fine. AJ's still going to take 5, unfortunately. He's going to look at the top card of AJ's deck, and there we didn't see that card, but AJ does get to draw it.
Also, he can actually choose to look at the card before he draws it, too. I mean, so that's essentially going to help him out as well?
Yep. Information's information. Information is key to any sort of card game.
Golly, he saw yet another one, and he's going to just continue to look at the top 3, put 1 in the hand, put 1 in the warp, and then put 1 at the bottom of the deck right there.
He's really digging for another Unholy Heat or some way to deal with this Regent on the field. Anything will do, but unfortunately right now, Jay is holding up 2 blue sources, so it's a distinct possibility that blue source is a counterspell.
He got his own TV that he ends up playing right there. We're going to see if he ends up looking at the top of his library or the top of his opponent's library, but regardless, he will get the extra draw whenever it's his turn again.
Yep.
So it looks like he is going to look at his opponents. He's going to go ahead and pass turn. And now his opponent is going to go ahead and draw. We got Jay right there drawing a card. And we're going to see what else he does. He's got, it looks like it looks like he has got 3 cards in hand. Yep. And 3 cards in hand. We'll see what he ends up playing right there. But man, I wish I knew what the life total was. But I can't see because of the glare. Oh, 7 to 13.
Yep.
All right. We got 7 to 13. I finally saw. We just have a little bit of glare. We got AJ having 7 lives. His opponent Jay having 13 lives there. We're going to see if we can actually make it to where they can get the screen a little bit darker. I think that would actually help a little bit with the life count. Oh, he's going to tap for 1. And he plays. It looks like he's going to draw a card and then scry 2.
There's another Serum Visions.
Yeah.
So right now, he might be looking for a Bolt himself. Bolt would probably seal the game. There's not really a 1-drop spell that's going to help AJ out against that Murktide Regent other than Unholy Heat.
Ooh, taps 3. What is that?
So that card is a card that enables him to mill the top 4 cards of his deck. And he's able to play any artifact from his grave once per turn. He just has to tap that card.
Okay, all right. So playing cards for free. So essentially what we get from every single card game is you want hand advantage, you need boy removal, and you need to be able to play your cards efficiently or essentially for free. Definitely right there. Looks like he's going to go ahead and tap. And, he ends up... Oh, what did he do there?
So that was another card. He milled himself for 2 more and drew a card. We saw him put those 2 cards in the grave. He drew the random card, which I think unfortunately was probably land. But there we see a blocker for right now. That's going to stop that Murktide Regent unless he has a burn spell or some way to deal with it. But he's actually going to take care of that other creature first, which is perfectly fine. AJ, I believe, is currently at 2. But that Dragon Rage Chandler should keep him alive for 1 more turn unless he manages to kill that Dragon Rage Chandler off the bat.
Golly, there's so much thunder.
There it is. There's a Underworld Breach, and that is probably just going to outright kill the Dragon Rage Chandler. And that's a scoop. AJ's lost game 1. So what that card is Underworld Breach is an enchantment that gives all your cards escape. They can escape for their mana cost, which is an ability that says exile X amount of cards from your grave. And you get to also play that card again for its mana cost. So if I were to exile 4 cards, and I can possibly recast Lightning Bolt or something like that, it really depends. But Underworld Breach is a pretty good combo card. I don't think we saw Jay's combo, unfortunately, but what we did see was a very well played game. And an ultra way that Jeskai Breach can win.
Oh, gotcha, right there. Well, you know what? How about this? Go ahead and talk to the fans out there on what these guys might be siding in against each other since it is a mirror match. I'm just going to run in there real quick and see if they can just drop the brightness on their phone, and I'll be right back. Hold on.
All right, you got it.
Woo!
All right. So what we might end up being brought in right now, ultimately is a lot of graveyard hate on both sides. Both sides use that graveyard a lot, having Delirium, especially with Murktide Regents, and going from there. So that is a distinct possibility with graveyard hate. We might also see another portion of that Breach combo being brought in, or possibly some number of the Breach combo being taken out for other additional sideboard cards. Dampening Sphere would be a good bring-in against certain decks. Void Mirror might be a good bring-in. Against these two, those probably exist in their sideboard, but they're not going to bring those cards in, unfortunately, I think. We're going to see more graveyard hate, like Relic of Progenitus, Soul Guide, Lantern, stuff to that extent.
Yeah, and I would think, me watching this, I'm thinking that, hey, a lot of the cards have Delirium. A lot of the cards have effects whenever they have a certain amount of cards in the drop area. So like you said, a graveyard hate, because, these cards rely on the graveyard, and on top of that, they're counter deck. So it's like you got these creatures, you got cards that have Delirium, then you have counters. Seems like it's the best, it's a little bit of everything.
A little bit, yeah. These decks are a version of Tempo and Control, which is what they do best. Right now, though, they're going to need a card in either deck to stick around that says it's uncounterable, or something to that extent that'll close out the game. There is a 6-drop Chandra. I forget her end name, unfortunately, but she is uncounterable. Jay might bring that in from his sideboard as a way to win against AJ, just to beat the counters, because that card, it can ultimate and give an emblem to an opponent right away, and the emblem says an opponent loses 1 life per turn. You could stack that emblem continuously, and it can clear the board. Unfortunately, that card does not deal with Murktide Regent. I think that's going to be the key for both decks right now, is getting around and dealing with that Murktide Regent. on both sides.
Murktide Reaching right there. Okay, and I can't get this off the top of my head, but what is the effect again? Murktide Regent?
Murktide Regent is a 7-drop flying dragon, 3/3, I believe. It costs 1 less to cast for each instant or sorcery in your graveyard.
That's
and it has Delve, so it makes it cheaper. And for every instant or sorcery you exile with its Delve ability, it gets a +1/+1 counter. So if I exile 5, it's a 7-drop 7/7 for 2 mana effectively.
Golly! And talk about playing for on the cheaps and then having a creature that has such power and such toughness, and then on top of that, having the keyword skill flying. Oh man, that's just, I feel like that's an OP skill, because I mean, if I'm not mistaken, creatures that have flying and creatures that have reach are the only creatures that can actually block creatures of flying that are attacking.
Effectively, you have to have reach, you have to have flying. That's really about it to block it. But flying isn't really what does it there. What makes it a very hard card to deal with is if it's not answered with a counterspell, and they are able to put 5 additional counters on this, it will take an Unholy Heat and another spell to kill that Murktide Regent. So they're going to get 2 for 1 regardless.
So they're going to just pull resources out of their opponent's hand. So either way, it's a plus for you trying to cast that card, because they either you rip a counter out of their hand, or you rip 2 spells from them trying to get rid of off board.
Or a creature and a spell. Something. Either way, it's more than likely going to be a 2 for 1, especially if that card gets 5 additional counters on it.
Ah, gotcha right there. Well, it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, it was Jay that took that game right there. We're moving into game 2, guys. If you're just tuning in right now, this is Mount Gall. This is Magic the Gathering at Lotus. I am one of your commentators, PR Sign.
I'm Carl. How's it going?
And hey, we're about ready to embark, and with that, we got to head to the mats.
Yep.
So we're heading to the mats right now, and it looks like they might still be finishing up their mulligans or whatnot, but hey, right after that, they're just going to go ahead and truck on. I mean, I'm being used to that. The fact that I commentate for Dragon Ball Super, and, you know, once they draw their hand, then they'll go ahead and they'll set their lives from their cards, because it kind of plays essentially like Pokemon for the little prizings, but instead of, you know, whenever you kill one of your Pokemon, you take the prize because you fainted one of their Pokemon, you actually take damage. It's damage. So whenever your opponent swings at you, it's damage that you take. So it's kind of like a little opposite right there. But there, they already started off, and we got this guy right here playing a land, and then of course drawing a card, and then scrying 2 cards.
Yep. So that is a Serum Vision off the top, and that, of course, is Spiral of Canal. That's one of the cards we previously talked about that's not going to die to boil, because its land super type is just basic land. We also see Jay here playing another Serum Visions off the top, so it's a match for match. Right now, it looks like Jay is probably searching for a Steam Vent, so that's why he's already at 17, and off that Steam Vent, just to speed up the process, he is playing Serum Visions, but instead he actually went with a Hollowed Fountain, so that tells me that Jay actually might have Path to Exile in his hand right now.
Oh, and Path to Exile sounds a lot like some removal right there.
It is. It is one of the best removal spells in Modern, and is probably the best way to deal with a Murktide Regent, because that is one of the few ways that you're going to get a 1-for-1.
Really?
Outside of a Wrath spell. The card's just instant speed, exile target creature. Its creature's controller may search their deck for a basic land, put it into play tapped.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, it's not bad, essentially, because you want to play it when you're getting rid of a huge threat, and then you're like, you know what, in return, I'll give you a land.
Yep, and it's still a May, so if your opponent doesn't have any basic lands in the deck, you just gained a little bit of value. So
gotcha right there. Well, it looks like for that right there, we have Jay at 17 lives. We have AJ at 19 lives right there. And we're going to see what he does. He ends up playing an island, and the island actually kind of looks like a Pokemon energy for water.
Yeah, those are the Pokemon lands. That, I kid you not, that's what a lot of players refer to them as, is Pokemon lands. They're super unique artwork. Some people like them, some people don't, because they look like the Pokemon energies. But that's just a basic land, so they're pretty neat. We do see a Dragon Rage Chandler off AJ's card, though, and it looks like there is a card that Justin accidentally flipped down underneath that Hollowed Fountain. It looks like AJ is probably going to put that to the bottom.
Oh yeah,
That's just a play mistake.
yeah, that was by accident. It's one of those where, you know, when you have some new sleeves or when you have slippery sleeves, it's happened to me plenty of times where I go for that one card and I guess the way I pull the card, it slides the card underneath it and it's flung at you right there. And that's essentially what happened here. And I guess they you know, no harm, no foul. Just throw the card back on the deck on the top or bottom. And that's fine.
Yep.
So it's 17 lives, 19 lives. We're going to see what he ends up doing. He plays a Plains, it looks like. And now he's going to go ahead and tap 2 to play this Geodude looking card.
So this is a part of the combo that we didn't see. And it looks like that's called Grinding Station. It's an artifact. It deals 1 damage to target player or target creature. And then you can sacrifice something to untap Grinding Station. You sacrifice a creature typically. And so the combo is Underworld Breach. You get a 0-drop. Put the 0-drop into play. You don't have to do anything to get it back out from escape. And you constantly sacrifice it to Grinding Station. Grinding Station untaps, and then eventually it'll kill your opponent.
Oh, nice, nice. I like that right there. Well, it looks like he's going to go ahead and Jay plays this card to search. Oh, he got a land. I know. Oh, I think that's a land. But if that is a land, I know where that's going. To exile right there because he didn't play his mana this turn. So it looks like, oh, he's got that other card, that same card that he had played actually beforehand. He actually has it right there. And I'm assuming it's a 0-drop. Am I right? Because it looks like he's casting it right now.
No, he still has an exile. That's where he's going to keep his exile right now. We do see the land right there. And now he's going to play the Serum Vision off the top.
And the Serum Vision is cost of 1, I'm assuming?
Yep. So he probably put that additional land to the bottom. And there we're seeing him put another card to the bottom. He's already drawn his cards. So he's currently looking for that other bit of the combo piece to get that Grinding Station going.
I like that right there. And it looks like off the bat right there, he threw the limp wrist. It's 16 lives to Jay, 19 lives to AJ right now. And he's going to be looking at the top of his decks and I guess throwing them in the drop area. Ooh, he threw an unfortunate card in the drop area, something that helps him. Oh, but he got another one.
Yep, there's another expressive iteration. So both those Surveil triggers are going to happen. It looks like he's just going to have it go to the grave. Both those guys, if I'm looking right, should have Delirium by now. Although, it looks like Sorcery. Nope, they don't. He's 2 off still, unfortunately. So he's just swinging 2, which is fine. AJ needs to get that damage in there. But the longer AJ does not have Delirium, the harder it's going to be for him to win, especially if Jay gets his combo piece off. Man,
that's like the boss card right there. The Channelers are just swarming, swinging in, of course, 1-1 at that point. So now we got Jay at 14 lives. Jay right now is seeing what he can do at this point. Of course, you got to remove those Channelers because they're not threatening. They're not too threatening now, but as soon as Delirium hits, they will be 3-3 swinging in at the top. Boom! It's going to be a bop to the head right there because they will have gotten the keyword skill flying. And it looks like he's about ready to go ahead and tap some mana.
Yeah, we'll see what he goes with here. He's tapping 2. It might be another. Oh, it's a Ragavan with dash cost.
He got the Abu. Also in
AJ's
response.
Fetching. Yep.
Also in response to Abu being played, we got a fetch right there, which drops him down from 19 lives to 16 lives. And of course, we're going to see Abu do what he does best: swing in, exile.
We're going to see a counter here.
Oh, we are? Oh! So he fetched and then he countered? Okay, so he doesn't have to counter in response to the card as long as it is like on the stack? Is that what I'm...
So the stack is still... it's a fairly complicated process. So imagine that Ragavan... This is the field here. Ragavan just came down. Ragavan's like somewhere in the sky at this point.
Okay.
The best way to describe a counterspell is the mage looks up at Ragavan and goes... No, and shoots Ragavan off into the distance.
Okay.
And so he hadn't hit the field yet to make his move. And that's unfortunate. But we do see another Dragon Rage Chandler there, though. And so...
Okay, so the way the stack works is whenever a card is being played or trying to get casted, then your opponent responds. So it hasn't hit the field yet because your opponent still has the ability to respond.
Correct.
So then what he did was he fetched on the stack, and then after fetching, so he resolved the fetch, and then he countered on the stack again. He threw it back on the stack?
Yes. In response, the stack can keep on going forever, so the best way to do it is in response, in response, in response. But what we saw there was just a simple in response fetch shock because lands still really don't have an answer. With that shock and Ragavan still on the stack, he countered it. Dash isn't an ability that says it can't be countered. Dash just says, I have expensive haste.
Oh, okay, I got you. And it looks like he plays his blue dragon too that we saw actually Jay played in the last game. And no, it's very interesting to get these understandings.
And so there we see again that it looks like he lost Delirium and went down from 11 or 12 back down to 5. So, and then he played the Murktide region. So AJ sequenced that right. So now we see a Murktide that is a 7/7 flyer. So again, that's going to be very difficult for him to handle. But there we see a Teferi. A Teferi is going to slow down all counter spells effectively. But in response, we saw AJ say, I'm going to Unholy Heat in response. And so right now, AJ's in a really good spot. And Jay's probably on the back foot. I really don't see Jay coming out of this too well unless he is able to deal with the field as is. Right now, he has to have that Pet to Exile in hand, and he has to be able to bounce one of the Dragon Rage Chandlers to hand.
So if I'm not mistaken, this Teferi right here says that your opponent cannot play instance. They have to play everything at sorcery speed?
Correct.
Okay, so that's why he had to play on the stack, so it didn't hit, so the effect didn't go through. He went ahead and threw the heat on him, and then Teferi landed on the board. Okay, I got you.
I don't think AJ has Delirium anymore, but it looks like it didn't matter because Jay scooped it up, so he must have had Delirium still. Unfortunate for him.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, it's one of those things where, I mean, me personally, I ask a lot of questions. I want to know for the future because, I mean, who knows, man? I'll commentate and I actually throw a little bit more information than just the hype. But the thing is, I know for sure that I actually went from Yu-Gi-Oh! To Magic. So when it came to chains in Yu-Gi-Oh!, it was actually, a lot of people were saying it's very complex. Like, if you move from Magic to Yu-Gi-Oh!, it's very hard to get the chains because you can have multiple chains. And, of course, the chain has to resolve first before the other chain that started ends up, you know, starting and resolving as well.
Yep.
So this is very different for me. It's easier because it's just one chain, essentially. It's one stack. But the fact that you can continue adding stuff onto that stack before it fully resolves is actually very interesting.
Yep. And that's just one of the things that Magic's always, that's one of the more unique parts about the game, because if I'm not mistaken, once the stack's kind of there with Yu-Gi-Oh!, you can only get one chance to resolve or something like that. I believe you mentioned it last week, and it ends there. But as you clearly saw, the stack can keep on going and going forever here, as long as there's appropriate mana or appropriate cards to respond.
Right, and then the thing is, too, with Yu-Gi-Oh! That makes it so complex is that there are some cards that actually miss timing. So a card might have a certain effect that says, oh, when you play this card, you can do this. And then whenever someone plays on that stack, if that is not the last card to resolve, it actually fizzles. It's actually one of those things that's very complex. And I don't know, is there any of that here in Magic whenever you play, like cards that miss timing just because of the difference in order on the stack?
They can, but those cards are really complex, and it requires somebody above my pay grade. It requires probably a level 2 judge to resolve that sort of thing, just because there are cards that could, in theory, miss that stack. There are abilities like Momentary Blink, blinking a creature at a specific time that could resolve and cause a creature to miss a stack.
I get it. So you say blink, but flicker. It's the same. Okay, so flicker. I remember that too, because flicker was just essentially, let's say if someone uses a lightning bolt to target one of my creatures, and I say, okay, well, I'm going to activate this ability to flicker my creature, essentially just taking it out of the battlefield and then placing it back in, so essentially it's a new creature so that the bolt kind of fizzles. Okay, I get. So stuff like that I think is easy for me to understand, but there was one thing that we actually had touched on earlier. I don't know if it was earlier today or on our last stream, where in Yu-Gi-Oh, if, say for example, I target one of your creatures and then you play a card in the chain that says the creature can be targeted, it actually doesn't work because the creature was already targeted within the chain. But you said in Magic, just because you play something that targets doesn't mean you can't on the stack give it hexproof.
Correct. Or Shroud, or Ward, which is the terrible ability now that they unfortunately made. But any one of those three can potentially build on that and make the stack null and void.
I like that too. Ward, I like Ward a lot. There's a couple creatures that I actually have in my commander deck just because it looks so cool and it's so OP to have Ward, and it's time to go to the mats. All right, so it is game 3 in this round 2, and it looks like we already got Jay taking some life there, and he's at 17, his opponent's at 20, and it looks like we already got the TV being played as well.
Yep, Mishra's Bobble off the top, and it looks like AJ decided to look at his own deck, which is perfectly fine. He's probably debating on whether or not it's worth to fetch here, or worth it to draw that card, which is a signal to me that he might only have 1 mana in hand, unfortunately.
Oh, it looks like that's that graveyard hate, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And he's just getting rid of Jay's Delirium already, trying to keep him off and make it so that 3 life for a 1/1 is not really that good, unfortunately. We see AJ there, of course, draw the extra card off his Bauble.
Oh, the bobble. That's nice right there. So that graveyard hate right there, can you crack it every single turn, or do you have to actually pay a certain amount, like a cost?
You can tap it for free, and it'll exile 1 card out of a grave, or you can pay 1 generic at any time and exiles each grave.
Oh, wow. But of course, because it actually hurts him too, he's just going to make it to where he just exiles 1 card from the drop area.
Potentially, but there might be sometimes where he just wants to pop both cards, especially if he can go Dragon Rage Chandler and just start refilling his grave before his opponent gets a chance to.
It looks like he's going to draw a card and now scry, and so he's going to put both cards on top of the deck. So, I mean, essentially, it looks like these decks pretty much just search, counter, and then either play the Chandler, they'll play the Abu, or they'll play the Blue Dragon. And hey, you know what? That's what it is. It's a mirror match right there. Through the limp wrist, and now it is Jay's turn, and Jay's about ready to go ahead and either charge his mana or his mana's gone. So what is that? So he's fetching?
Yep, he's fetching right now. He's looking at his hand to make sure he has all the appropriate colors that he needs. He's debating on whether or not to probably get the Hollowed Fountain or to get a basic Plains just so he has all 3 of his colors. Ooh. Or if he already has it in his hand, he might just be getting another blue source. But there we see the Hollowed Fountain. So he's going to go down to 14. Bit pricey, unfortunately. But that's what you have to do to make sure that you have all your colors right now.
Oh, it looks like he went ahead and took some damage for that. We got Jay at 14 lives. His opponent still at 19 lives. And now I understand a little bit why, you know, a match is played in Modern Magic. Why not? I mean, everyone plays fetch lands, even though it's 20 lives. I mean, utilizing all those lands and burning yourself just to try to get some type of advantage, I mean, it seems like it's a standard thing.
Mm-hmm. Life isn't nothing but a resource. That's the way our corporate overlords view it, and that's the way Magic views it.
Literally and figuratively, folks. So it looks like he's going to go ahead and express himself.
Yep, expressive iteration. Figure out a card to go into exile, get another card in the hand, put something into the bottom of his deck. Unfortunately, he's already played his land for turn.
So he cannot go. Oh, he put a lightning bolt.
Mm-hmm.
Ha ha! He's showing you that Zeus, the wrath of Zeus, is going to come upon you, and then just bop him for a 1 right there.
Yep. He doesn't have Delirium, and he won't have Delirium as long as AJ has that Relic of Progenitus out on the field. But unfortunately, he is going to get more card selection the longer that Dragon Rage Chandler is out. But it is allowing AJ to kind of dig through right now in his deck, find more removal. So, not to say that Jay isn't in the best of spots, but AJ is in a little bit better of a position, I think.
Oh, we'll see right here. He went ahead and he got the teardrop of an island right there for his mana, and he's got good essential mana, but he left all 3 of them open, which leads me to believe he's either going to counter something or draw 2 cards.
Possibly. He might not even do that. He might just straight up take the Dragon Rage Chandler as the additional effect of Archmage.
He might actually do that as well. So he taps 1 and plays.
That's a Soul's Guide Lantern, so that's his version of Relic of Progenitus, so he can now exile cards from AJ's grave and keep AJ off Delirium.
Ah, nice right there. Oh, yeah, he's going to... Oh, yep. Oh, wait, he put a card in sideways, so of course that's the card that counters. But then what's the other card?
So that's a Force of Negation right there, actually. As additional cost to cast Force of Negation, he has to exile a blue card from his hand. Force of Negation says, counter target non-creature spell. If countered this way, exile it.
Ah, okay, I got you. And he didn't have to tap for anything at that point. Didn't have to tap. All he had to do was exile. That's very nice. Of course, it does deplete the hand, but at the same time, if you're trying to use that land for something else, it's very good.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see if he might actually save it for something else. But yeah, no, definitely he does not want that card on the other side of the field because he wants his Delirium. So when he plays his Chandlers, it's going to have a 3/3 and it's going to bop you over the head.
Yep, and there we see the grinding station again. Jay probably feels it's probably pretty safe since AJ did play his Force of Negation. Force of Negation can only be played for free on your opponent's turn, by the way, as well. We aren't seeing another counterspell right off the bat, which makes me think that this grinding station is probably here to stay. But we will see exactly what AJ feels about that. He might have an abrade in hand or might have some additional way to deal with that grinding station.
Oh, we shall see. We shall see. That grinding station right there, we saw that he played earlier too. He does have a Chandler on board. He might actually just swing with the Chandler and then pass the turn. Does that artifact actually, is it an artifact creature or solely an artifact?
That's solely an artifact.
Solely an artifact. Oh!
And just as I said earlier, he's going to steal that creature with the Archmage's Charm.
Oh, he said hypnosis! Oh! He took him to his side of the field. Woo! And of course, he passed turn on that one. He does have the delirium as well. So now it's going to be a 3-3 bop to the head.
Yep. Although I'm looking at his grave, I'm not exactly sure if he has delirium just yet. It looks like he only has instants, sorcery, and some lands there. I think he... Oh, no, there is the bauble. You're right. He does have delirium. But he's going to actually exile his grave and lose the delirium now. He's already swung at Jay for 3. He's got value in, and now he's going to get additional value in with that Murktide Regent.
Oh, there he goes right there. It looks like, I think he took back that play is what happened. I thought he was trying to play the dragon, unless he did play the dragon and something happened.
No, I think he took it back briefly because he missequenced.
Ah, okay, so he was trying to get that sequence in, man. That sequence. So now he's going to go ahead and warp cards because now essentially he has one more card in there to warp, which actually helps trying to get delirium back. For the Chandler. Yep. And it looks like we got AJ at 15 lives, his opponent at 10 lives, and man, is this going down to the wire. We got to see something on Jay's part. Oh, another Chandler. Ow!
So Jay's in the color combo that does have access to Supreme Verdict. Supreme Verdict would save him here if he drops another land. I do think, I'm surprised, I can't remember if Grinding Station says sack a creature, and then you can deal 2 damage, and he did sack his Dragon Rage Chandler instead of letting it go to that Archmage Charm. If that is the case, that is a small play mistake on his part.
Sounds good.
But if Jay does have the Supreme Verdict here, then I think he is in pretty good position.
Risa Bear! Hey, I appreciate you, boss. Thank you for following us here on Mount Gall. Much love to you, man. Oh, he plays it to Fairy!
He bounced that Murktide Regent back to the hand. Those Dragon Rage Chandlers are currently 1/1s. He actually drew another card off of it, so maybe he drew another land, and he's going to be in a decent position. But those Dragon Rage Chandlers are now on a 5-turn clock, and he's also more than likely not going to play that Murktide Regent for such a low value. He only has lands and 1 instant in his grave, but there we see the expressive iteration, so that might get the delirium that AJ needs right off the bat. We will see. The double surveil is really going to help out.
Ain't nothing better for a man to express himself right there. Express yourself. And it looks like that lightning bolt. Boom! There's some damage there. Also, the lightning bolt can hit a planeswalker?
Yep. Lightning bolt can hit any permanent or any non land.
That's why it's OP. It's way better than shock. I think shock just deals with the creatures.
Nope, shock can hit the same amount of targets as lightning bolt does. It's just shock does 1 less damage.
What? Oh, you can have them both in the deck if you want to.
There's better burn spells out there, but you definitely could.
And then it's for 1, so it's an inexpensive, shock. Little damage you could do right there. But right there, it looks like Jay is on the ropes with 4 lives. His AJ right now has 15 lives, sitting real pretty right there. I don't know, but it seems like it might be AJ's to win.
It's more than likely going to be AJ's to win. I'm probably going to call it for him right now. But there we see that Emery again. He's going to mill 4 cards. We'll see what he mills.
Oh, he mills a TV. He mills the Express. And then he mills 2 other cards that I did not see.
We see the Underworld Breach there. So we do have a combo on the field right now with the Underworld Breach. And so it actually might have just gone off in Jay's favor.
Oh, so what does the Underworld Breach do?
Underworld Breach is going to give his cards from grave escape. And he's able to exile a certain number of cards from his grave to recast a card for its mana cost.
Oh.
So he's going to sacrifice artifacts, float mana, recast, and continue to do that.
Oh.
Yep. So he actually is going to go off, so I might have called it a bit early for that.
Oh, nice. That, you know what? That, you're right. That might actually put a little bit of some good defensive stuff for Jay right there. But can AJ just bop him over the head? I mean, isn't that a thing right there? They got flying. So I mean, can any of these cards block Chandler?
Those cards can't block Chandler, but right now Jay's currently going off. Unless AJ has some response, which it looks like he does. He has Relic Progenitus, and so he's now going to exile all the graves.
Oh! Oh, so he did that on the stack.
Yep.
Oh man, he's like, you know what? I don't like what you're doing with your graveyard. Boom on the stack. Get rid of your graveyard. Wow, I think that might have just hit that last nail to the coffin right there.
Yep. I think that's what AJ was looking for. He's looking to see the loop, and he did exile Jay's grave, and that might have sealed the nail on Jay's coffin, unfortunately.
Oh man, yeah. You know what? Sometimes you gotta see what's happening, see the loop, see the stack, and then of course respond to what's happening. Hey, he had the card out there. He was just waiting for him for the opportune moment to take advantage and to just clinch it.
Well, right now Jay's on a 2-turn clock because that does affect AJ's grave as well. So those channelers are 1/1s. But if AJ is able to get Delirium once again, that could be a 1-turn clock real quick.
And I'm pretty sure there's a card that he probably plays where he can mill more cards in order to try to get Delirium, if I'm not mistaken.
Any non-creature will mill more cards.
Any non-creature. Oh man, so that's what the deck is just built on.
And so right now, Jay is currently playing Tomon Script, and he's going to continuously exile. So he had an alternate win con, and it looks like...
Wait, what?
Nope. That was the alternate win con. AJ's scooping it up. It goes into Jay's favor. It looks like Jay won.
Wait, what?
He had another Tomon Script, which is another 0-drop artifact, and he's going to continuously recast that card with Underworld Breach and redo his win con. Eventually, he's going to get Thassa's Oracle, as you see right there. That is his win con. He's going to float X amount of mana, which is 2. Once he's milled through his entire deck, he's going to play that Thassa's Oracle, which scries X, where X is his devotion to blue. And then it says if you scry greater than X, or go through basically your entire deck, you win the game. So he's going to mill his entire deck, and then win the game with that Thassa's Oracle.
Wow, and that was an infinite loop?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. Jay just took it like that. And I knew about infinite loops, but I didn't see anything like that before. I just knew how, someone can just flood the board with like an infinite amount of tokens and then give all the tokens haste and then swing in for an infinite amount of damage.
No, this one is self-mill your entire deck and then win with the card called Thassa's Oracle. There are alternate win cons like Laboratory Maniac or Jace. There's a 4-drop Jace. I can't remember the full name on that one.
Wait, the Laboratory Maniac says if you try to draw and there's no cards in there, you win? Yes, I know that one.
That one sees a lot more play in EDH, as does the Jace, but Thassa's Oracle here sees a lot more play in Modern. It was part of a broken combo in Pioneer for a hot minute, and is still seeing Modern play now, so... People say Merfolk's a bad deck, and it is, but at least I still have Thassa's Oracle to represent Merfolk.
Yeah, that thought right there is putting in a lot of work. Well, that was the end of round 2 here on Mount Gall. For you guys that are just tuning in, this is Magic the Gathering at Lotus. I am one of your commentators, PR Sign.
I'm Carl. How's it going?
And don't go away. We got more rounds to come right after this.
Yep.
What's happening, Magic players? I'm your hype boy, PR Soy.
Carl, how's it going, guys?
And before we start, I just wanted to go ahead and want to give a shout out to Chance Vega and of course Evans Corbin for following us here on Mount Gall. Much love to you guys. Thank you so much for following, for watching. It is it's an honor. It's a pleasure for me to commentate for you guys because well, you know, I'm trying to bring the hype everywhere I can, and what better way to do that than with some magic, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, it looks like what's happening here. We got AJ that actually got toppled by Jay last round, and so it's going to be Jay versus Adam in the stream room. It's round 3. We got one more round after this. I'm actually pretty excited. After we saw that loop from Jay last match, you think we're going to be seeing more of that, or do you think people are going to be watching out for it now?
Adam's a pretty good player, so I think he's going to know what to watch out for. But usually with combo, the way it works is combo usually gets game 1, game 2 is a toss-up, and then it really depends on who starts off best in game 3. So that's kind of where my prediction is right now with combo and Jay playing breach combo.
Sounds good right there. So it looks like he drew his 7, and then I guess he put one card back on the top of the deck. No, he drew 7. Oh, there he goes. Oh, Scries. What?
Yeah,
One, two.
Yeah, he mulliganed and put one to the bottom.
It looks like we're about ready to start off and head to the mats. Woohoo!
So we see Adam right off the bat playing Ragavan again. And then we have Jay playing Esper Sentinel. So that is a Flagstones of Tarkir, by the way. Whenever that legendary land goes to the graveyard, you're able to search for a plains and put it into play. So ideally, he's going to have another one in his hand, going to kill one off, and he's going to search for a free plains. Esper Sentinel says whenever an opponent plays a non-creature spell, they have to pay mana equal to Esper Sentinel's power, otherwise that player's controller gets to draw a card. So that card's going to be there for defense, and he's just outright going to chump the Ragavan to it, which is probably the smarter move.
Oh, and then so it just KOs the Ragavan, and so now it's his turn. He's going to see if he can go ahead and get another mana for his turn too. We're going to see what ends up happening. So now that you see what he's playing, what's the win con in his build?
The win con in Jay's build, of course, if he doesn't get another Murktide Regent from Adam, which it looks like Adam is also playing, is it? If he doesn't, oh no, he's playing Jeskai. So if he doesn't get that, his win con, of course, is going to be through Breach combo. It's going to be mill X cards until you get 2 0-drop artifacts or 1 0-drop artifact in grave. Really depends on what happens first. And Breach, mill yourself out, and then Thassa's Oracle yourself for the win. Adam, of course, is playing Jeskai, so we aren't exactly sure if it's Jeskai Control or if it's Jeskai Tempo. Every Jeskai deck is able to slap Ragavan in right now, and Expressive Iteration.
Express yourself. Like that. Like that. And it looks like after playing the Express, I mean, we got Jay right now at 19 lives. We got Adam at 20 lives, and he's going to express himself. Look at the top 3 cards. Put one in his hand. Put one in the up there. Lightning Bolt, man. That is such a great card. Everybody pulls, and that's the old edition, isn't it? So, and of course, he's got 4 copies of that in his deck. Why not? Why not?
So they both go down to 17 right now. But if I had to guess, Adam is currently on Jeskai Tempo. He's playing the Ragavan build. He's probably got some number of Dragon Rage Channelers and Murktide Regents. And previously we did see that Jay doesn't have an issue with that. We see, though, that he does play...
What? It destroyed a land?
Yep, that's Vindicate. Vindicate is a sorcery that destroys any permanent of his choice.
Oh, so it took him back a land, and it's very strong too for the sincere reason that however many lands you got in the deck, that's how many you got, and you gotta draw your lands in order to get the mana. That's the thing.
So I actually just realized I've been calling it a little bit differently. So that's Adam, of course, with the Vindicate there. So Adam is actually currently playing a version of what I would say is Mardu Tempo right now. He does have Mardu lands, where of course Jay is still playing Jeskai. He's got the Delirium there already with Dragon Rage Chandler. So that's nothing new. We've been seeing that consistently throughout the day. But so Adam's deck is already a little bit different. He's got Urza's Saga there. It's going to tick up to 2 probably at the end of Jay's turn. And that's going to get him a Golem token.
Got Golem token right there, and that's one of those lands that actually has levels right there. I mean, the only levels I've actually seen are for enchantments or whatnot, but it's actually really interesting that there's just a whole bunch of cards with a whole bunch of effects. It's very nice. It's refreshing to see, you know.
Yep.
And right there we got Adam at 17 lives and his opponent at 14 lives, and it looks like we got some type of spirit being played.
Not quite. That's Smallpox, and I wasn't expecting to see Smallpox tonight. Smallpox is a card that affects both you and your opponent at the same time. Each you lose 1 life, sacrifice a creature, and sacrifice a land and discard a card for the cost of 2. And so Adam sacrificed his Flagstones of Tarkir. So that should enable him to search for a Plains, put it into the field, but it looks like he decided not to. Or he's doing it late. There it is.
This man right here is, even though he's hurting himself, he's hurting his opponent a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
So you've already put Jay behind, which is fine. Ultimately right now, we're dealing with a sort of Smallpox control. This is a different deck that we haven't seen, or at least I haven't seen in a hot minute, since we used to have a player by the name of Princess Play here. He used to play Hate Rack, and he used to play weird cards like Smallpox on occasion. It was pretty fun. And there we see a Golem right there. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of artifacts you have in play, and right now that's a 1/1, so that's not going to matter. It's going to get bolted.
Mm-hmm. Get that out of there right now, because I actually have seen games being clinched by that card.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a bolt. We got 1 more mana left open. It is, of course, for an island or a mountain. Maybe he might have another bolt in hand. Who knows?
Maybe. We do know information, of course, that is one of the cards being Scalding Tarn that Jay does have access to right now. He is at 13, though, but I don't think that's going to matter too much. We do see that Adam is playing the Rack, of course, and I can tell that immediately from the bottom card right there, and that is the Rack. So, to quick lowdown on this card, I haven't seen it in a hot minute, but it says choose target opponent. Target opponent loses life where X is effectively, as long as they're below 3, they lose X life where X is less than 3. So if you have 3 cards in hand, you don't lose any life. If you have 2 cards in hand, you lose 1 life. If you have 1 card in hand, you lose 2 life. If you have no cards in hand, ideally where the Rack is at, you lose 3 life.
Oh, okay, so you're slowly killing your opponent. And now, is that every turn, or is just once he played it?
Every turn. That's an artifact, and that's going to be at the beginning of his upkeep.
Upkeep! Oh!
Now, I could be wrong on the Rack. Again, as I mentioned, it's been a hot minute since I've seen that being played.
Oh, and he got some spirit tokens, it looks like, both of which I'm assuming are 1/1s and flying.
Yep, because he did play a flashback card. He ended up playing Lingering Souls. That's going to get him 2 spirits, and he potentially might have another engrave and get him another 2 spirits, so Adam just playing good old Rat control, something we haven't seen in a hot minute.
Oh, you know what? It looks like it might actually go into his favor, and you can just keep on poking your opponent with one at the top of his head right there, at the top of the dome, and his opponent, Jay, having 12 lives, and of course we got Adam having 15 lives right now, and I think he went ahead and threw the limp wrist after charging. Ooh, yep, swung in, bopped him on the head for 2, plays his mana. We're going to see whatever he plays for his main phase 2. And it looks like he's going to go ahead and play.
He's going to bring Lurrus in as his companion. So he paid 3 to bring Lurrus to his hand right now. He might start flashing back some cards from his grave, bring back permanents with Lurrus. But there we do see a Teferi, and it's going to bounce a token, which is arguably the best value that he can get right now. He's going to draw that extra card. That token is probably going to kill that Teferi next upkeep. Or next turn combat phase, but it's better to at least get rid of 1 token and lessen the clock and take 1 damage off the clock than not take anything at all.
Exactly, because you know it's the time. It's the Clefairy. That's a fairy right there. I like it.
I am actually surprised that he decided to kill or exile that other token with that prismatic ending rather than hitting the Rack itself. But who knows? Ooh. So right now, Adam did play the Lurrus, and he brought back the Esper Sentinel. So Adam's going to be drawing cards unless Jay pays 1 per non-creature spell that he casts. So.
And if I remember correctly, that Esper Sentinel is essentially having Death Touch, right? Because it can block and then just kill the creature that swung? Or?
No. That's just coincidence that they killed the Ragavan, because Ragavan is a 2/1 creature. It might have haste when you dash it, and it might give you all this value, but it dies to a literal sneeze.
Oh, okay, because of the toughness is 1.
Its toughness is 1. There's like a handful of cards in Modern right now that can't outright kill it, and every kill spell in the game can, of course, kill a 2/1. So there we see a Lightning Bolt. If I had to guess, I would probably hit the Lurrus and leave the Esper Sentinel, but that's just me. Esper Sentinel is going to get you a little bit too much not Esper Sentinel. Lurrus is going to get you a little bit too much value over time. Esper Sentinel, not as much, thankfully.
Oh, so it looks like, oh, there goes the TV. So he's going to play the TV and now look at the top card of his deck or his library, and then I think pass the turn after that.
Yep. He's going to draw the extra card off Bauble. There you see lost 2 life because of the rack. So right now he's at 6.
He's at 6. Oh, that rack is putting in quite a bit of work every upkeep right there.
Yep.
And he's at low life. Or low card, not only low life, but low cards in hand.
And there, as I mentioned before, he's targeting that Lurrus with the Bolt, and he's going to pay the 1. So Adam does not get to draw that 1 card off Esper Sentinel, which is the smart move right here.
Right. And then it looks like he went ahead and threw the limp wrist. So it's back to Adam's turn once again, restanding everything on his upkeep. Oh, he's getting rid of land. Oh,
he's going to get rid of that Teferi.
Oh, you can get rid of Planeswalker. Oh, permanent.
Any permanent.
Any permanent. Oh, golly. I guess every color just has its trump card. Tapping 3, get rid of any permanent on the board. Not bad.
And so there we see he lost a little bit of life again from the rack, and Jay's scooping it up. The rack seals his fate.
Ooh, the rack putting in work. Oh, my goodness. Woohoo! That's a strong card. That's what? That's an enchantment, I'm assuming?
That's an artifact.
That's an artifact. That's an artifact that puts in that work. I wonder how many of those he plays in the deck. Can they stack?
Yes, he probably plays 4. Any deck that utilizes the rack will play 4 of it, although Adam's build is using a card called Urza Saga, which is another card from Modern Horizons 2 that enables him to search up for the rack. So Adam could be playing a number less than 4. He could be playing 3 because he has the ability to search 1 up. So.
Oh man, I like that. That's strong right there. I mean, you see something a little bit different. It's a little bit refreshing, and it just puts in quite a bit of work. That's one thing I like about commentating is that you'll see the meta at hand. You'll see that most of the people were playing the deck that we saw. But whenever you see decks like this come out of the woodworks, I don't know if it's meta or not. All I know is just something different, and it actually is very destructive or can be as destructive as Izzets.
Yes. And so Adam's definitely playing a non-meta deck right now. Like I said, it's been ages since I've seen the rack played itself, but the fact that somebody can be unprepared for it is a good reason to play it, because people might not be used to that card in the standard meta right now. So.
No, that is not bad at all. Him having a trump card where he taps 3 and destroys any permanent. Now, is that the only effect, or does it have multiple effects?
That's it for Vindicate. That card used to be super powerful by today's standards. It is no longer the case. But it is still seeing play in a lot of decks, and because of its printing in Modern Horizons 2 right now, it's seeing new life. It is a reprint.
Is it a sorcery or is it instant?
It's a sorcery. If it was an instant, it'd probably be way too good.
Broken!
But being a sorcery puts it at the right spot, so.
I got you right there. Man, if that was an instant, that would be real nice right there, because you can just, if someone plays something that you don't like right there, boom, destroy it. I mean, very, very nice. And of course, White, I saw that White had a lot of stuff that can exile and just destroy stuff. I think is the most I've ever seen board wipes. I think White has a lot of board wipes, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. It probably has the most board wipes. It's maybe tied with Black having the most board wipes. It's really up for debate, but White's signature thing is usually board wipes or exiling stuff. So
board wipes and exile. And I know for Black, there's one card that I remember that actually was utilized. It was like Black's board wipe. It's Languish, I think.
Languish is one. Damnation's one. The Meat Hook Massacre is one that we're going to see out of Innistrad. Usually how they work is it's going to give target creature XX, or the board wipes can be super overcosted for its ability. Crux of Fate is a 5-drop board wipe that kills all dragons or non-dragons depending on what mode you choose. And that's from Black as well. So It really depends on what color needs the board wipe in the standard rotation, and then eventually, if that board wipe's good enough, it'll trickle down into modern or potentially legacy. So.
So does every color? So I know that in card games you have different characteristics and different traits for each color. Now, but essentially there are staples in those specific colors.
Correct.
Does every single color have a board wipe or their own rendition of a board wipe?
They have their rendition. So black and white have board wipes. Black's board wipe is usually at a cost, but it has a board wipe, whereas white is non-costed.
Okay.
Blue doesn't have a board wipe, it has bounce spells. Its most famous bounce spell is Cyclonic Rift, and that's going to bounce all non-land permanents back to their opponent's hands. It also has things like Upheaval and stuff like that. Green doesn't have a board wipe at all for creatures. Instead, it has board wipes for artifacts and enchantments, and possibly creatures with flying. It really depends on the situation. If it does have a board wipe that kills creatures, it's super specific, but otherwise it destroys all enchantments and all artifacts easily.
Okay.
Red doesn't have a condition. It has a conditional board wipe. Its condition is its board wipe deals damage to everything. So you're going to see cards like Anger of the Gods, Sweltering Suns deal 3 damage to the board. Or if it does have an unconditional board wipe, it's going to be super old and it's going to be super devastating to both sides. Like Jokelhops is a super old one that removes all lands, creatures, and artifacts from the board.
Golly.
And that's a 6-drop if I'm remembering correctly, and that's never going to see play. That's never going to see reprint again. It's always going to see play in red decks, EDH-wise at least.
You know, and that's one thing that I actually have noticed because I do play an Izzet Commander, and it's just like, man, every time I want to pull some type of board wipe, I have to actually hurt my creatures, and I don't want to hit my creatures with anything. So it actually is, it's very difficult to build my commander, but at the same time, I do understand that we got to hit the mats. So it looks like we're already starting off. We got Chandler on one side of the board, and then we got
Esper Sentinel.
Esper Sentinel. The Sentinel. Okay, we gotta remember or throw some nicknames on there, but remember the effects. Oh, he's already getting removed.
He's letting him draw the card right now, but he's doing the Delirium effect first, and so it looks like he's sending that card to his grave along with Prismatic Ending. There he's playing another card. We're seeing a Serum Visions. He's going to draw a card, but first he's probably going to Delirium, mill the card, then draw another card, scry 2. So right now he might have a potential 3 cards in graveyard, 2 of which share a type, because both of which are sorceries, but he has double Delirium trigger. Here we see that Urza's Saga again, and as we already know, eventually that might go get him the rack. We have a Mishra's Bauble and an Esper Sentinel off top as well.
Oh man, so it does seem like even though there are different colors, it seems like there's just standards staples that you have to play, and no matter what type of color deck there is, because I've seen that bauble in practically every single deck that we've seen.
Yep. That's the reason why a few people want it banned, is because it's seeing mass appeal and massive play, and it's just abused with cards like Lurrus. But there's a number of people who also want Lurrus banned because it unifies decks and doesn't spread out and makes things too uniform. And then, of course, we see decks like Modern Horizons 2, or sets like Modern Horizons 2, release a bunch of brand new cards to the format that completely turn the format on its head, but then they become instant staples, like Esper Sentinel here, Dragon Rage Chandler's another one, Ragavan's another one, Urza's Saga's another one. All these cards were printed within the last 3 months in Modern Horizons 2.
It looks like we got gold medals on the horn right there saying Surveil Trigger.
Yep.
Surveil Trigger. Now, is that the card that's right next to Chandler?
No, so he's going to get a Surveil Trigger with Engineered Explosives, but Dragon Rage Chandler always gets a Surveil Trigger as long as he casts a non-creature spell.
Surveil Trigger, and then that affords him what?
That allows him to get Delirium quicker.
Okay, I got you. Surveil, isn't that kind of like Scribe, but send it to the drop area?
You send it to the graveyard. Yep, it's Scribe.
Okay.
There's a few people out there that say that it's Scribe, but better.
Scribe but better, I gotcha. And what is also better is the fact that we got gold medals OG following us here on Mount Gaul. Hey, much love to you, boss. I appreciate you, man. Everybody that's watching, just it's awesome, man. It really is awesome to have you guys watching here. And we got Adam right now with 14 lives, and his opponent Jay having 18 lives right now. And my goodness, right now it looks like it might be in Jay's favor.
It might be. It looks like he got the Underworld Breach and he milled it for right now.
Ooh, and then it looks like he taps. He's got one open. It looks like maybe for a lightning bolt or whatnot. Oh, no. It's his opponent is swinging in. Esper Sentinel. And And of course, after that, it looks like
He's going to fetch. He's going to get a Shockland more likely. No, he's going to get a regular or have the Shockland come to play tap because he's currently saving that mana, and he's probably going to use it to blow up the tokens that Adam may or may not produce with that Urza Saga.
oh, biscuits. Well, after that, I mean, the Shocklands is just one of those things where it seems like that is a staple in itself too for Modern.
Yes, the Shocklands are staple. You cannot. There's very few decks that do not utilize Shocklands, and you can arguably not play Modern without Shocklands. At least not play it properly.
Really?
Yes, unless you're playing one of those few decks that do not utilize Shocklands. Hammer Time is one of the more popular decks that cannot utilize Shocklands because they're not in the mono base. It's not required. Burn, Mono Red Burn, maybe. Merfolk, but that's about the extent of those three, I think.
Yeah, because it don't need the Shocklands. Can't touch that. They can't. They don't need it. But it looks like he's going to go ahead, and I think he taps, and he looks at this deck, and then, of course, he bottom decks. So he went ahead and, I guess, scry, I'm assuming. He's going to go ahead and tap 2. Oh, express yourself. Oh, no, for a boo. He went ahead and played a boo right there, and we're going to go ahead. He plays for the dash cost, I'm assuming.
Yep.
He went ahead and swung in. It looks like he took his opponent down to 9.
And he's going to get that treasure token, of course, and right now he is debating on whether or not the Thoughtseize is worth it. I would argue that it might be worth it to see Adam's hand and remove a threat from Adam's hand to ensure the game a little bit more in my favor, and he is going to do it. So he's going to lose 2 life effectively, but he's going to get information. Information is key here. We see that Adam has 2 Urza Sagas, a Marsh Flats, and it looks like he sent a Shadow Spear to the grave, which is probably the right call. Usually decks only will run 1 Shadow Spear, and that card says target creature has lifelink or trample. So it's a way for Adam to recover, and that's probably the best take right now.
Yeah,
So.
and you don't want him to recover because he's dwindling down to as much life as he has right now is 9, slowly but surely going down. Jay right now at a comfortable 14 lives, and now his opponent is going to go ahead and draw and see what he can do. He does have a land in hand, but I'm assuming that's one that comes in tapped?
No, the Marsh Flats sacrifices itself for the exchange of 1 life, and he's able to search his deck for a basic or non-basic plains or swamp. Realistically, most people go get Godless Shrine, but in this case, Adam might be justified to get a basic just so he doesn't go down in life. He also has those 2 Urza Sagas in hand, and that might enable him to do something a little bit later, but right now, Adam's not looking too good. That Dragon Rage Chandler is staring at him in the face right now, and Adam needs to deal with that. He's not going to be swinging this turn, at least in my opinion, because Jay also has that Ragavan with dash in hand. That's information that's known, and that's a solid 5 damage if he swings. Plus, he's utilizing Lightning Bolts, so he might be dead on his upkeep. It really depends on what Jay has and if Adam actually does swing.
Oh man, this is something right here. And so essentially, whenever you said about the Marsh card, it pops a land and then brings a basic one. Does that basic one come in tapped or untapped?
Untapped.
Oh, okay. So I see the plays that could be made. Go ahead and utilize the land, then pop it, then bring in another one.
It's not necessarily utilizing, but at the same time, it's one of those things where up there we see a Nile Spellbomb. I'm sorry, that name blanked on me. Nile Spellbomb is a 1-drop artifact. You may tap it, sacrifice it, exile target's opponent's grave, and so that'll deal with the Delirium with the Dragon Rage Chandler.
That grave hate.
You can also pay a black to draw a card after you instead, but ideally here Adam's not going to do that. He's going to exile Jay's grave, deal with that Delirium for a little bit, and stave off dying right now.
Gosh, from the commentating screen, that kind of looks like a stingray. What does that artifact look like? Is it kind of like a charmer?
It's just like a little grenade that has a small magical explosion coming out of it.
Magical explosion right there. Okay, well, hey, we got that graveyard hit, so the Chandler is not going to be too threatening, too detrimental, but it looks like he went ahead and played. Is that the Thoughtseize?
That's the Thoughtseize, so Adam's going to choose to go down to 4 because he is going to exile Jay's grave. That's going to put the Dragon Rage Chandler on a clock. I think he ticked up the wrong way, unless I'm mistaken, and he gained life somewhere. He should have gone down a little bit. I don't know why he went up there.
So he went from 9 to 7, so he took 2 damage. But yeah, no, ooh, he played that thought. All that thought, looked at his hand, and ripped something out of there. But then that's just more knowledge. But I don't think any of these guys are taking notes whenever they see their opponent's hand right there.
Not right now, no.
I think it's just because it's a locals, and you know what, there's not really too much at stake. Like if you go to an actual like Grand Prix or whatnot.
If you go to a Grand Prix, you can be that guy and take notes. People are going to look at you upset and take time, but it's always best to have information. So.
Oh yeah, information is key. If you are a competitive and you're a great player, for you to have information, oh, that's a plus on your end. Mm-hmm. A plus on your end, because then you could start playing around stuff. And there he goes. He played a boo.
So it's a real question here on who Adam wants to block. Probably going to block the Ragavan. Yep, because that's going to generate too much value.
Oh, but he took damage. So he did have Delirium. It looks like he did take the Chandler damage right there for 3.
Yep. I'm actually kind of surprised Adam did not activate the Nile Spell Bomb and instead just exile the grave, but I believe you also have to have 1 mana open, but I think he had it last turn and could have done something with it, but I could be mistaken, so...
Oh, this is going down to the wire right there, and it definitely looks like it's in Jay's favor. And if Jay does take this game, we're going into game 3.
We see Smallpox here, and that's actually going to take care of quite a bit. So we see that he has to sacrifice a creature, sacrifice an artifact, sacrifice a land, discard a card, lose a life. Adam has to do the exact same thing, though, so that's going to put Adam to 2. Jay's in a pretty good spot right now because he runs Lightning Bolts. If he does do the top deck for Lightning Bolt, that is going to just kill Adam.
To your opponent, shoof! Lightning Bolt from Zeus right there to clinch the game. Oh, man, but you know what? I can see that Adam is really comfortable playing at low life.
Yep, life, like I said before, is just another resource.
It's another resource, but at the same time, there are a lot of players who really don't like being that low at life, and they start to, they start to shake. They start to get nervous whenever their life is going down close to 0.
The only time I shake is when I've had 3 energy drinks.
How are those drinks anyways? I don't think I've ever had one.
These ones not bad. I don't want to say the name because we're not sponsored, but they're not bad.
Yeah, they are. Unless we get sponsored, player. Unless we get sponsored. But it looks like he's going to go ahead and he's still searching right now. But yeah, no, so both players have to sacrifice a creature, a land, and life.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there we see the Piling Needle. Adam's probably going to name Engineered Explosives on that Piling Needle just so he can stick around with his Urza's Saga tokens and them not die, so...
Okay, so it looks like he's going to go and then play... I've seen this card, but man, I'm trying to remember. That was the card that he actually lightning bolted to get it off board the first time, right?
Mm-hmm. That's Luris. And it looks like he's going to bring back Esper Sentinel too, so he's going to try to get more value and stabilize. And there we see the Urza's Saga again. If it goes to next turn, it will get him a Golem token, and that Golem token will be a 4/4. So right now, Jay's not looking in the best of spots, unfortunately.
But he got some cards if he needs to block. He's going to go ahead and play and then pass. So he plays and then pass, and now it's Adam's turn again. Adam's holding on.
Right now, Jay does not have a hand, and he's in top deck mode. Adam currently is controlling the board really well. We see that Adam brought back that Shadow Spear, and right now he is going to gain 5 life back.
Oh, man. So he played something, and of course he enchanted the Esper Sentinel.
No, he equipped it.
Oh, equipped it. Okay, so equipped it. I'm assuming it gains power and lifelink.
Yeah, it gains trample and lifelink, and the Lurus also has lifelink, but Adam accidentally forgot to calculate his lifelink there. He should be at 12 right now.
Oh, no, you can't forget that, Adam. You gained the life. Let's go, player. Oh, man, this is nail-biter right here. Adam at 7 lives, came back from 2, and we got right there Jay at 8 lives. Was at a comfortable 14, but slowly going down towards 0.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I can't wait to see. We got 2 cards in his hand. I think he does have he had a lightning bolt in hand.
That's the expressive iteration, and right now that expressive iteration's probably his best bet. That lightning bolt needs to hit that Lurus right now before he gains too much advantage. That's the only way that Jay might be able to come back.
He hits him again. He hits that same card again with a lightning bolt. Looks like he's going to go ahead and tap 1. What is that? Another Smallpox?
Not quite. So that card is a card that allows him to exile any card from his graveyard, and if it is a creature, I believe, he gains 3 life, otherwise he draws a card, and it can escape for 4 and redo this ability over and over again.
Oh, man.
Forget the name of the card right now, it'll come to me here in a minute.
Oh, my goodness, but he's holding down. He's holding on to the wire. 6 lives, and it's his turn. He's going to go ahead and draw. Oh, there he goes. His opponent's like, no, we got to cut that. He draws. And we're going to go ahead and add another marker to that land right there. And now he's going to go ahead and tap 2. And I guess sack that land. And what is he sacking it for? Oh, the construct.
The construct.
Yeah. Token. Oh, PR Sign's getting it.
So right now the construct token is a 4/4, but Adam also searched for the rack again, and now that construct is a 5/5.
The combos. That's the Michelin Man right there. That's gonna take damage off every upkeep, depending on how many cards he has in his hand. And of course, he has 1 card in hand, so his upkeep he'll be taking 2 damage.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He's gonna see Adam gain the life and Jay lose the 2 life. Ideally, at his next upkeep, he's going to be lower, and he'll switch that Shadow Spear over to the Construct, and the Construct will swing in. That Piling Needle is really stopping Jay right now, and unfortunately, I think Jay just top-decked way too many lands, so we might see this one come down to 2 again.
Oh, you know what I can use this counter for? I just realized I can use this counter since we're doing matches. Adam took game 1. Bingo! Since they're already keeping the count on there.
We see the Thassa's Oracle. He's scrying 2. Unfortunately, Jay's not going to win off that Thassa's Oracle trigger, but he might just be playing it as a blocker right now.
Oh, he might. He has no cards in hand, so it looks like the Michelin Man will take off 3 damage when he passes turn. So essentially, all he needs to do is take off 3 damage on swing, and then pass the turn, and then he takes the game.
Kind of, sort of. Really depends on what's going on right now. That Urza's Saga, that construct actually was killed, so right now... there's kind of a standstill. That Thassa's Oracle will survive that Esper Sentinel swing.
Also, we got another one of those that gives lifelink and trample. Is that card, or is that the Smallpox?
That neither. That card's going to exile another card out of Jay's grave because that card also has escape on it.
Oh, that artwork is kind of similar to all the other ones, player. Oh.
And so he did it to draw a card, which is perfectly fine.
And then swinging in with Esper Sentinel, he's going to go ahead and block. He's got that life link right there. Woo! He's just gaining life! Oh, he's at 10 life right now. Oh, when he passes turn, the Michelin Man's going to do... Oh! He dealt the 3 damage! Woo! Oh, man, it's coming down to the wire.
It's coming down. And so we see an expressive iteration right there. He needs to deal with this rack on the board. If he can't deal with the rack, then he's going to be in a world of hurt.
Let's go, player. Express yourself. Express yourself. He's going to go ahead. Okay, so...
There's a land, card in the hand, card to bottom. That card in hand has to deal with the rack, otherwise he's dead on his next turn.
So taps.
Serum Visions, draws a card. He's still searching for an answer. Card drawn is a land, unfortunately. And puts 2 cards to the bottom, and that might seal his fate for now.
So he only has to deal 1 damage and then pass turn. He does have 1 card in hand. So that 1 card in hand, the Michelin Man can only deal 2 damage now at his upkeep.
Yep. And so that's going to keep him alive for a turn as long as he has that card in hand. But if Adam has a way to deal with the Thassa's Oracle, it will seal Jay's fate.
He's going to go ahead and swing in. He's going to block, but it looks like he just keeps on blocking it. He's just going to keep on getting
life.
There's
the Smallpox, and that seals Jay.
Oh, what? The Smallpox does 3 damage?
No, Smallpox deals 1, but it also forces Jay to discard. He's not going to have any cards in his hand at the beginning of upkeep.
For the Michelin Man to deal the damage. Woo! Oh, that was nice. That was really exciting to see. Adam going in with the non-meta deck, and actually, I thought Adam was gonna take that L for game 2.
No, he managed to stabilize pretty well. I think it was mostly due to the top decks, unfortunately, Jay was getting right now. But we've seen quite a few different upsets so far, and hopefully we'll see another different match here in round 4.
Hey, you know what? I'm excited for that. Guys, stay tuned. Don't go away. We're going to be coming back with finals here on Mount Gall, Magic the Gathering at Lotus. I'm one of your commentators. I'm PR Sign.
Carl, how's it going?
And we'll be back. What's happening, Magic players? This is your hype boy, PR Soy.
Carl, how's it going, guys?
And this is the finals. We are here at the finals here on Mount Gal, Magic the Gathering at Lotus. And I am excited to see what's about to happen. Like Adam, oh my goodness, the last round, Adam took it with such an amazing, it was a different play style than what we've been seeing at the beginning of this tournament and all throughout. And now he's in the finals against Will. I'm actually excited. Do you know what Will's playing?
Will's playing a version of Food. He's playing an older version of Food with Feasting Troll King. Unfortunately, this version is a little bit outdated, but it'll still be interesting to see how Adam tries to handle this. The rack versus effectively Food with Asmo.
Oh, and I cannot wait. Effectively, I already know this guy got the Esper Sentinel. He's got the Destruction. He's got the Michelin Man to deal damage at the upkeep. That is a very, very strong card. And essentially because his deck kind of drops his hand as well to try to make it that card live. And you know what? And I'm over here thinking that the card that he plays, the Smallpox, where he has to, he gets rid of a land, gets rid of a battle card, gets rid of a creature on the field, and then reduces life, would be something that's just like, it's detrimental, but he uses it to his advantage.
And odds are he's playing another card in his deck, actually, that we didn't get to see, and that's Torok himself. That's a legendary creature that says whenever opponent discards a card, it gets a 1/1 counter on it, and it has protection from white. So he's probably utilizing that card. Several other discard spells like Thoughtseize, Inquisition. I was talking to Adam earlier, and he actually mentioned to me that he only has one of the rack in the deck. So this is literally the rack. Usually decks play 4 of, but since he has Urza's Saga, like I suspected earlier, he's able to search that card up and then get down, and he's actually been able to utilize that card to a great deal of his advantages. Won a lot of games off the back of the rack.
Oh no, that's very exciting to hear right there, and I can't wait to get this to commence, because we got the final round, and of course it is a best of 3. The first person to take 2 games will top here in our Magic Modern tournament. And just like last time, of course, I guess it's a Magic thing where you always get the top 4 players. And so after this match, we're going to go into a quick break. We're going to get the top 4. We're going to come back. We're going to give you the top 4 players, and then we'll go ahead and bid adieu. We know that this is the second time that we've actually had a stream for Magic the Gathering, so you might not be familiar with the Houston players unless you're actually familiar with them, because they'll travel and they'll play Grand Prix and stuff like that. So it gives you a little bit of an idea on who's playing in the sides and whatnot. But they've already started, so you know what that means. We headed to the mats. Woo! And that looks like an Esper Sentinel.
Yep.
Yeah. How do you play that for free, though?
He didn't. There's a Plains right there.
Oh, okay. So he must have went first.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we already see the cookbook out from Will, and so we could expect him to utilize that, discard a few cards to make some food. All depends on what he discards, of course.
Okay, so I know I've seen this cookbook, I've seen the foods, but I'm trying to get what the strategy is. You keep on trying to put that cookbook out there so it provides you with extra mana? Is that what it is?
It provides you with extra food, and then you utilize that extra food to cast cards like we see Asmo in his hand. We see a few other cards that utilize the discard. And that's kind of what this deck does. It utilizes the discard effect to gain advantage, some slight graveyard shenanigans to gain advantage, where comparatively Adam also uses the discard to gain advantage with Torok, with other discard spells like Thoughtseize, Inquisition, stuff to that like in nature.
Also, since he uses discard to his advantage, I mean, does this deck have any type of cards that have the keyword skill Madness?
Potentially. There might be some Madness cards. It really depends on his build. Asmo technically doesn't have Madness. She's a 0-drop by all definition, but she has an ability where the only way you can play her is if you discard a card, and then you're able to play a red or a black for her. So.
Gotcha. Well, it looks like he swung in with Esper Sentinel and then played the TV right there, the bobber, and we got right there Will at 15 lives and Adam at 19 lives. Actually, we switched that up right there. Didn't we switch that up? Hold on, let's switch this real quick because... Oh, no, that switch does not work because Will is actually on the other side. And then Adam is right there because Adam is the one that's playing the Esper Sentinel.
Yes.
Okay, boom. Save. All right, we saved it. Adam right now is at 15 lives, and we got Will at 19 lives. And it looks like, is that an Asmo or is that another card?
No, that's an Asmo. He played that off a discard. He discarded a card using football, gained a food, played the Asmo. He unfortunately did get double Thoughtseize, though, because Adam does have an Urborg on field. That enabled him to double Thoughtseize and took 2 Finales of Devastation out of his hand. So that's going to hurt in the long run, but we'll see how much exactly that will hurt.
Man, and that's why people don't like thoughts. That's why they don't like the thought right there. Not only looking into the opponent's hand, but then ripping out a card that can be very detrimental. Is it any card, or does it have to be a non-creature card, a non-land card?
Thoughtseize is the best hand disruption that we have. It says any non-land card. So you can take instant sorceries, planeswalkers, enchantments, whatnot, as long as it's not a land.
Golly, man. Well, you know what? That's the power of a thought right there. That's the power. And it looks like Will's going to go ahead and play a land for turn. And he's going to go ahead and see which. Oh, he throws a limp wrist. He passed the turn, and now it's Adam's. And Adam right now is about ready. We're going to see if he charges. Oh, he's not going to charge. He's going to go ahead and... Oh, he plays...
Inquisition of Kozilek. So he's going to look at his hand one more time and see what happens. Right now it looks like Will's going to go fetch. He is going to go down to 18 because of it.
Oh, man. So he's ripping his hand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what his deck essentially does. I mean, I saw a little bit of it in the last match, but I did not see it like this frequent.
No, I don't. I think he had weird hands last time. And there we see a Colligan's Command, unfortunately. That's going to get ripped from Will's hand. Oh, no, it's not. He's actually going to destroy the Esper Sentinel and possibly regrow something. Looks like he's going to regrow the Asmo, which is perfectly fine. I don't know if that's necessarily the best call, because he's still going to get the Asmo ripped from his hand due to that Inquisition, though.
Right. Oh, man.
But there's a cookbook and there's another Asmo, so...
You get that Asmo out of there, because if you don't have the Asmo to start your chains and get your cookbooks and get your foods, essentially, you're behind.
Yeah. He'll get all the food that he wants, but without a payoff right now, that's not going to be the best.
Oh, that's not good. Well, there you go right there. He plays another land, and is that the one that pops and brings in a plains?
Yep, that was a Flagstone of Tarkir. So he is going to search his deck for a plains, and there we see the Godless Shrine. So
now he's going to go ahead and tap 2.
He's going to bring in that Lurrus.
And that Lurrus, what is that Lurrus? It looks like it's just a creature.
It is. It's his companion. He paid 3 from it. He tapped mana from the previous Flagstones, plus he tapped those 2, paid and brought the Lurrus to hand. And there we see a Ragavan from Will. He probably dashed it in.
Oh, a boo!
Oh, that's actually probably a really good rip, so he doesn't have to worry about Vindicate, which is kind of nice.
Ooh, he rips the Vindicate, and we got Adam at 13 lives. We still have Will at 18 lives, which actually he has pretty decent amount of lives, but yet we're playing the Guerrilla Warfare, bringing out a boo, swinging, and then bringing him back to hand.
Yeah, it's not going to matter too much right now, because all Will has going off for him right now, he's got 3 cookbooks, and he has that Ragavan, but unfortunately, if Adam manages to rip that Ragavan out of his hand, Will's not going to do too much. Plus, Adam now has 2 blockers in the form of Esper Sentinel and Lurrus. So
now Lurrus is the card that we had Jay continuously get off of the field, because, like you said, the longer it stays on board, the more value he gets. What does that card do again, the longer it stays?
It can bring back any permanent cost 2 or less from grave once per turn.
Oh, that's why you said as long as this card stays, it's just going to be more devastating to the opponent.
And it looks like Will's already scooping up, actually.
What? Oh, my goodness. Wow. I guess he just dropped his hand so fast. That's just one of those things that in any card game, I can't tell you how many card games I've played. Just if you can control the opponent's hand, you're just going to get the W.
Yeah.
You get the W like that. And then there's, I don't know if you guys know, in Dragon Ball Super, I actually play a deck in which there's a creature or the boss card. When you play it or when it swings, takes 2 cards from their hand and bottom decks it, sends it to the bottom of the library.
Nice.
So on play 2, on swing 2. So essentially on the turn it's played, there's 4 cards, and then if you don't get rid of it, that's 2 more cards. After that, every turn it swings.
That sounds pretty devastating. We have creatures like that in Magic where they'll gain continuous value on entering the battlefield. They'll produce 2 of something, whether it's getting your deck 2 lands, 2 zombies, a permanent, something to that extent. There's another one that's coming out in this standard as well that when it enters the battlefield, it generates 2 wolves, and it can make those wolves fight. So it's pretty powerful. By judgment right now, it'll probably be a standard all-star. I doubt it will see play beyond that, but we'll see how things go in time.
See, me personally, so when I started Magic, it was actually during Shadows of Innistrad and Eldritch Moon. And of course, there was wolves and there was vampires, and so I built a vampire deck, at the time it was standard. And then I built a wolf deck, and I loved the wolves, how they had them transforming. But what was so difficult was keeping them transformed because, of course, they kept on flip-flopping whenever you played more than one spell a turn. So it's just like, man, the mechanic is there, but those wolves were strong.
They might have made a solution to the mechanic this time around. It's called daytime, nighttime. How it works effectively is wolves flip as they normally did if you play 2 spells or whatever, but there's a built-in ability in most wolves where during nighttime or night form or whatever it is, they'll automatically flip, and then they could also interplay automatically flipped as well. So
I like that.
Also an artifact that can make it so it's daytime or nighttime automatically, so it'll be a lot easier for wolves to make an actual difference this time in standard and not just be master of the hunt. So
well, I'm gonna go back into here, and we saw that Adam took the first game, so that's 1 right there for Adam. I'm gonna go ahead and save it whenever we go back to the screen. So that's what we can do to keep track, because they have the 2020 lives right there on their phones. We can see it right there, and then of course the counts will just keep counts on the games that they get within the matches. But yeah, no, PR Sign, man, I love the werewolves, and actually my werewolf deck is stronger than my vampires. Don't get me wrong, I like the vampires because I love the madness. I love the madness keyword skill because coming from Yu-Gi-Oh, I played Mermails, and they had effects whenever you discarded them. So I was just like, going into Magic, I was just like, discarding, I'm used to this. And then, of course, with the chains and stuff like that, I would have people end their turn. I'm like, okay, before you end your turn, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to discard with this Vampire's effect. Then I'm going to go ahead and play this card from Madness. It was very refreshing, and it was actually really easy for me to ease into Magic with that keyword skill Magic. And, of course, like I said before, after that, DBS came out. I was frustrated, man, with the mana flooding, the mana being mana screwed and all that. And you know what, now I've been commentating for a while, and I said, you know what, let me get back into this. So that's when I made the commander deck that I got, and that's when we got to hit the mats because they're already in game 2, and the rest is history, man.
Yeah. And so we already see Ragavan right off the bat here. Of course, that is the extended art Ragavan. We've seen quite a few people play, and it exiled a flagstone off of Adam's build. So that's perfectly fine right now. Will, in theory, has 3 mana, 1 treasure.
Oh, tapping 2. So he didn't pay for the dash. So that card is still on board. So it is vulnerable, but you know what? He can keep on swinging and on swing, keep on exiling the top card of his deck.
I think he mostly did that one to get super aggressive, and as we already saw, he does have another Ragavan in hand. And so there we see the Dragon Rage Chandler, just as we've seen it all night. And we've seen Ragavan all night. So these 2 cards really aren't going anywhere in Standard right now. So that is a Drothy... I can't remember the second half of the name. Pardon me on that one, guys. But it is a 3/2 2-drop that whenever anything goes to grave, it's automatically exiled, and it gets a counter underneath it. If Adam were to sacrifice that, he can play any one of the cards that has a counter underneath that Drothy for free.
What?
That Drothy also has Shadow on it, which means it can't be blocked, but it also can't block other creatures unless they have the keyword Shadow on them.
So that's that hate against his opponent, because his opponent is clearly playing Chandler. Of course, Chandler needs Delirium, and if that card is on board, which it just got removed, then of course it'll stop him from getting Delirium.
Yes, that card actually wasn't brought in specifically for Chandler. I think it was specifically brought in for all the food shenanigans that you can do with Asmo. And right now, Will is actually searching his deck for Asmo with Finale of Devastation. He's going to put that directly into play.
Oh, that's nice right there. So he's got quite a bit of a field. He's got Asmo, he's got Abu, and he's got Chandler. And, of course, we got the food that's coming out right there and going to the hand. So he's playing very aggressive this go-around in game 2.
And so right now he's actually swinging, and there's another land exile, which is perfectly fine. He's probably exiled somewhere around $40 of land.
Woo!
But as we just saw right now, he's going to get another treasure token. He might be able to play that food, that cookbook that he just got, which I would consider. But right now, Will's actually sitting in a really good spot. It's going to be very hard for Adam to come back necessarily from this, just because Will's playing so aggressively. But there we see the Smallpox.
Smallpox! Oh, the Smallpox going to put in work.
What he doesn't know right now is he has another Ragavan in hand, so Will might sacrifice the Ragavan, which is what I would consider. He's going to discard that food.
So he wouldn't consider sacrificing the Chandler?
I personally wouldn't, because it's more damage, and I could just dash in the Ragavan.
And it looks like he's thinking right now, because he does have to get rid of a land, a creature, and 1 life. Land, creature, and 1 life, and then I guess he's thinking on.
And he also had to discard a card, which was a cookbook, of course. But that is what Smallpox is going to do right here. Like I mentioned, I would go straight for the Ragavan because I already have another one in hand. And I'm just going to continue to get value. But he went with the Chandler instead.
Went with the Chandler, so I guess he's going to be warping 2 cards from the top of his deck if he dashes the other Abu.
Oh, he won't, because they're legendary.
Oh, what? It's legendary. Oh, it's okay. So there's another rule. Okay, so what's the rule? Is this just for modern or is for any...
Any format, as long as a creature is legendary, there can only be 1 copy on that side of the battlefield. So Will can only have 1 copy of Ragavan. And if there was another copy on Adam's side, Adam can only have 1 copy of Ragavan. But as soon as there's a second copy, they have to sacrifice one of the 2 copies.
So that's why you say sack the Ragavan since you have another one, because it's a legendary creature. Okay, that makes perfect sense now. Oh, PR Sign's getting it slowly but surely right there. So it looks like we're going to go ahead and he throws a Limp Writh past his turn. It's Will's turn right now with 16 lives. His opponent Adam has... now he has 9 lives after the swing. Oh, and he warps that destruction card.
It might be in Will's advantage to actually utilize that Vindicate and put Adam behind on land. I think I would hit the Triome here just to take him off double black. And it would again put Adam behind. But I also don't know the other cards in necessarily his hand, but it looks like he's considering possibly passing. It looks like he has 3 treasure tokens in total. I mean, unless he has a Feasting Troll King engrave, I don't see a reason not to just cast the Vindicate here and blow up one of Adam's lands and put him behind.
So the Abu exiles the top card and then you can play it. I'm wondering what is going on here, and you know what, that's actually very strong. How long has treasure tokens been around? Is it just a new thing, or has it been around for a while?
It's been around for a few years. In the aspect of game, it's relatively new. Treasure tokens in theory came out with Ikoria. There's a prequel to them called gold tokens. Only 1 creature produced those to my knowledge, and I think there's 1 spell that produced gold tokens. And then Ikoria came, or not Ikoria, gosh, what is the set?
Well, he did exactly what you said, too. He used it, and he got rid of that land there, so now he's playing behind. And he plays one of those lands, of course, that has the steps to it. We're going to see what he ends up doing, but he's faced right now with an Osmo and an Abu. And, I mean, we're just going to see what... I don't even think he has that many cards in the hand. He has 1 card. Oh, he's going to play his own, and he's going to get rid of his opponent's land, and then, of course, pass the turn, and they're just getting rid of each other's lands. So he's going to go ahead and swing in. His opponent is at 4 lives. He's at 15 lives. This is a quick game right here. He's just going aggro.
That's what he needs to do. And it took me a hot minute there. We see him actually catch that Drawthy again. So right now that's also going to put Adam behind. But it took me a minute. Treasure tokens initially came out in Ixalan block, which is a pirate central block.
So
pirates.
Arr. I like that right there. Hey, but you know what, too? It reminds me of a joke that I used to say when I was teaching. What's a pirate's favorite letter?
What?
You're not gonna guess?
I'm gonna let you do the setup on it.
Oh man, but the setup, you gotta guess one. Yeah, at least
I'm gonna say R for the.
Okay, you're gonna say R, and then that's when I respond with R. You think, but it be the C.
That's a pretty good one.
Oh man, but hey, you know what? That's pretty cool how Magic incorporates all that, and then some of their stuff is based on real life. Like you were talking Street Fighter, you were talking that the energy looks like Pokemon. That's pretty cool that they incorporate all that in this card game.
Yeah, they try to incorporate a lot. I mean, the last 3 major tokens that have been super popular in Standard and have made their way into other formats are clue tokens, treasure tokens, and food tokens. Food tokens is the most recent one. That came out of the Eldraine block, of course. Treasure tokens came out of Ixalan block, and then clue tokens, ironically enough, came out of Eldritch Moon first. Second Innistrad block. So we're going back, and we're now seeing the return of clue tokens to some extent.
I know
as well.
about the clue tokens, and the clue tokens can be very good if you have a deck that revolves around them. And it looks like he's going to go ahead and swing in and does all that damage, but then the construct comes out. I don't know if that actually stops the damage.
It's gonna stop the damage briefly. What Adam's doing right now is he's exiling a card in Will's grave to gain some life and to stem the bleeding, because he can't block that Drawthy, and that Asmo's a 3/3. So right now his best advantage is to block the Ragavan, trade with the Ragavan with the token, because the token's a 1/1, and gain 3 life. It'll stem some of the bleeding and then bring him back down to 1.
Oh, he's down to 1 life. Oh my goodness. Now this guy, you can't count him out until that life is down to 0. That life count needs to be down to 0, because in that last match he was at 2 life and he still ended up coming back and getting the win.
If Will had one more token, then it wouldn't. One more food token, it wouldn't have been that big a deal. But as we see on the field, he only has the 1. He could have shot the construct, unfortunately. And now Adam is searching his deck for another artifact, and I'm going to assume it's not going to be the rack right now. I'm going to assume it's probably going to be Shadow Spear to try to gain some life, and he's going to try to equip possibly a construct with it. There's the construct.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, because the rack in this situation is not ideal. Because, it does put in damage. It puts in a little bit of work at the opponent's upkeep. But right now, the opponent's at 15 lives and he's at 1 life. He's got to try to figure out a way to stop the bleeding, like you said.
And there's the Shadow Spear, as we saw. So he needs to find a way to equip that Shadow Spear. The Shadow Spear equips for 2, but it does make that construct a 2/2 right now. And if he equips it, which there's the other land, that's going to be a 3/3 construct. He's going to exile the Drawthy, and so right now he can trade. Oh, he won't trade. The Asmo's still going to deal 3 damage to the constructs 2, but if Will manages to get another food token, it's not going to be that big of an issue right now. Will currently has 1 food token, and he's contemplating a little bit too much, so my guess is he doesn't have a way to make a food token, unfortunately, which is a shame. If he did, this wouldn't be that big of a deal. Right now, Adam's going to block. Adam's also going to make another construct on his upkeep and probably equip the Shadow Spear to it to try to gain some life here.
He's tapping 3. What is he tapping 3 for? He's going to activate that land again to bring out yet another construct, and we'll see what he does with that.
Right now, he's probably searching his deck for Pithing Needle, and he's going to name Asmo with it. That would be my assumption, but instead he actually went with a Nihil Spellbomb, possibly to draw a card. But right now, that construct is a 3/3. If Adam plays another land this turn, he can equip, but he did, but unfortunately he's only at 1 life, so that Godless Shrine's going to come to play tapped. So he's relying on Will kind of
not drawing anything?
Not drawing anything again, yep.
Oh, man, we're going to see. I guess he swings and then trades with the construct. Oh, man, he had nothing. It looks like he has nothing. Oh, no, he plays the land. He throws a limp wrist. He passes turn. It's Adam's turn. Oh, this guy right here. Man, it's very exciting to see this guy play, man. He's not counted out.
Right now, they're both in top deck mode. Will has a distinct advantage currently, just because Adam can't activate his Castle Lochwain. All of his shock lands come into play tapped. And Will realistically has removal. So the problem is he's not drawing anything to discard that second Asmo in hand.
Oh, man, he tapped 3 for his companion? Is that what it is? Is it essentially like a commander?
Kind of, yeah. And so,
but how come it's not on the field? It went to hand.
So companion, the way it's worded now, is you pay 3 mana, and it goes to hand automatically.
Okay.
And then you pay the creature's cost, and then it goes to field.
Oh, that was the one you were telling me the ruling was you paid the 3, it goes straight onto the field, and they changed it to go to hand and then the field. Ah, okay, I got you.
Or you pay the mana cost, and it used to go onto the field. It used to be pretty much commander and standard, and then they realized that was a terrible idea. I'm still part of the camp where they should ban all 10 companions and just never speak of them again. But until that happens, I'm all for Lurrus getting banned in Modern. I think it's too linear. and it just makes too many decks too similar. So,
hey, well, that's the problem I guess we have in all decks, that all games. In fact, whenever you have staples and you have standards and stuff, they all kind of seem a little bit similar, especially when you have tournaments and people are playing, mostly the same decks. But he taps to play. He tapped out.
1, 2. So he played the Feasting Troll King here. The Feasting Troll King, when it enters play, it generates 3 food tokens. That's provided it wasn't played from the graveyard, and it is a 6-drop, 7/6 Vigilance Trample. So if Adam is unable to do anything right now, that troll is going to trample over and kill him.
Is going to trample. Oh, man, that keyword skill is so strong. All the keyword skills are strong in their specific situations, and that trample is going to put in work. So as soon as Adam passes turn, he might as well just Rocky Road it. He might as well Vanilla Bean scoop it out.
Possibly. Adam sometimes likes to play things out just to get a feel and make sure all of his outs are possible, which I fully agree with, because right now he can gain 3 life minimum, and that will reduce the Troll King's damage. Right now he can actually gain 4 life because he equipped Shadow Spear, so that'll put him, and that'll reduce the Troll King's overall damage. So we see him block there. He's going to gain 4 life, so realistically only 2 is going to trample over, and he's gained some number of life. And that's actually going to sustain him for the turn, just a smidge.
Oh, nice. Okay, so it saves him one more turn to see if he actually draws into something. But it looks like, oh, wait, no, he swung into it.
Yep.
He swung and then he oh, snap. I don't know if he got another turn or not.
Oh, there's Finale of Devastation, and that might make Adam scoop, actually.
He went ahead. There's the Rocky Road. Woo! There's the scoop right there. Hey, Cold Stone, Baskin Robbins. That's what we call a nice, good, cold-hearted scoop right there. Man, it looks like we're going to be going to Game 3. This is the final round here on Mount Gall. Magic the Gathering at Lotus. Of course, we're your commentators on PR site.
I'm Carl. How's it going, guys?
And this has been very nice. This has been very refreshing, and hopefully you guys are enjoying yourselves. I know I am when it comes to commentating for Magic the Gathering. And since I'm actually commentating, multiple card games now, it's gonna be unfortunate, but I actually won't be able to commentate Magic for 2 weeks. So it's gonna be like a 2-week on, 2-week off type deal for the sincere reason that my job and my schedule works that way. But hey, you know what? Then the next 2 weeks I'll be commentating for Dragon Ball Super, and then after that I'll be coming back and I'll be commentating for Magic the Gathering as well. So I don't know if you're going to continue with this while I'm gone, or if you're just going to be waiting until PR Sign gets back.
We'll see. We'll work something out, I'm sure. We might work something out over time. It's just a matter of how and if we can get another person in here. So.
No, definitely. But it looks like they're going to be siding once again. This is down to the wire. We saw how Will adjusted from Game 1 to Game 2. He went from mid-range play to aggro, unless the fact he didn't see his cards Game 1. And, of course, we got Adam, who, plays his mid-range, dropping his opponent's hand. But it looked like he really didn't see too much of his cards that he saw in Game 1 as well.
Unfortunately not. Adam's specific deck, you want to be on the play. He wasn't on the play in Game 2, so he probably took out a little bit of his hand disruption in order to get more graveyard destruction, more hate for Will's creatures. Now that Adam's back on the play, he might bring in back some of that hand disruption and bring Will back down to what he previously was at 0 cards. So he's going to keep some of that graveyard removal in his deck, though, now that he knows Will has the Feasting Troll King. That is Will's top end at 6. There's nothing bigger in Will's deck than the Feasting Troll King, unless he has a Construct that is super strong, of course.
Oh, man, this is getting down to the wire. I wonder what they're talking about right now, but, hey, these two men right there have been putting in such a great amount of work throughout this whole tournament. I thought we might see AJ. I thought Jay was going to be up top because they were both playing Izzets, but Adam just came in and just took the reins, and now he's actually fighting in order to get the top spot. And I don't know how it is for Magic, but I know in other card games, it actually is not guaranteed that the person that loses to the undefeated is second. I don't know if it's the same here.
It comes down to breakers here and who played what, and that's what this tournament is going to be. It's going to be a huge mess of breakers, especially I'm rooting for Will, but if Will does win, that means every single person who's been on cam and tried to defend the previous tiles lost. So it's going to come down to breakers, and it's going to be a big jumble towards the end here.
Oh, gotcha. So okay, so it's pretty much the same throughout the whole, throughout all of TCG, because I mean it depends on if you're 1 and 2, if you're 1 and 3, like it depends on all that. So I mean, it's just very exciting to see, and I mean honestly, the fact that we had a full tournament, 4 rounds, it's a match each of the rounds. This is actually really quick.
Yeah.
Really quick. I kind of wish that Dragon Ball Super would do this as well. I mean, Dragon Ball Super can be fast, but it's just one of those card games where, I mean, not many people really do bests of 3s.
Yeah. It is. There are situations where the matches can take forever. In Magic, ideally, the most famous of these matches is a Legacy deck called High Tide, and then you have another person playing High Tide on the exact opposite side. It's guaranteed that those 2 decks will go to time, and how Magic works is once you go to time, you get 5 back and forths before the match is called. So whoever the player turned it start on, that's turn 0, turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, turn 5. So
5.
So each player gets 3 turns to end the match. High Tide, after 50 minutes, High Tide can go an additional 30 to 40 minutes after. And so waiting on control matchups or combo matchups like High Tide or Azorius Control can take a hot minute.
Hey, you know what also could take a hot minute? Not really. We're heading to the mats. This is it. This is the final game, and it looks like the first turn he played himself a thought. Oh, them thoughts are real. They're devastating is what it is. Plays it, look at his opponent's hand, and rips out a Chandler, it looks like.
Yeah, he ripped out that Chandler, but it looks like Will top decked that Alpine Moon, and if I had to guess, that Alpine Moon is probably naming Urza's Saga. And there we see another Drawthy with a Mishra's Bauble to back it up. So any card that Will plays now is exiled to that Drawthy unless, I believe it's Drawthy Infiltrator. It took me a hot minute again. But unless Will kills that creature now, only that kill spell will be removed. And it doesn't stack, by the way. Each Drawthy Infiltrator exiles its own pile. So if Will were to kill that immediately, that would be the only spell that Drawthy Infiltrator can use. And now that it's no longer on the field, even if Adam was to bring it back, it would create a new pile. So that card is just effectively exiled for the turn.
Gotcha. Well, it looks like it's staying on board. He threw the limp wrist, and now it's Adam's turn. And let me go ahead and actually change this for you guys because they actually got a game apiece right there. So what? Will with 1 game, Adam with 1 game. This is game 3. Oh, he plays another one. Oh!
So right now it's a 2-drop 3/2 again with Shadow, so they can only block creatures with Shadow, and only Shadow creatures can block Shadow creatures.
Oh, it has Shadow. Oh, that's too strong. Oh, that's OP.
Will might have Drawthy Infiltrators in his deck. I'm not positive. Odds are probably not, but it is a distinct possibility since he is playing black and he is playing food. Drawthy Infiltrator is one of the modern 2 Horizon cards that sees quite a bit of play in a lot of decks.
Well, it looks like we see that what happened with Will last game is happening with Adam this game. Adam just turned on the aggro machine right there, pumping out cards and just swinging in. Adam right now at 18 lives and Will at 15 lives.
Yep.
Not for long. He swung in with both, and now he's at 9 lives very quickly.
If you can't answer Drawthy... Ooh, and there's 2 Esper symbols to back it up.
Oh!
If you can't answer those Drawthy Infiltrators real quick, it's not going to look too good for Will. And I don't know how he's going to answer all this board state currently. He can maybe play a Maelstrom Pulse and pop the Drawthy Infiltrators. But he's going to have to let Adam draw 2 cards, or at least 1 card on that.
And he continues to go down in life due to, I'm assuming he's searching. He shocked himself. And this, it's like I said, it's not looking good right now for Will. Adam he turned it on. I don't know what it was, but he turned it on and boom, he went full power. He went 60 miles, 0 to 60, man. That's what he did. Swinging in with those guys, and now he has Esper Sentinels, and those are 1/2s or 1/1s?
They're 1/1s.
1/1s. So 1/1, some nuisance right there. But there's that card that brings out Asmo.
He paid 1 into it, so I don't know if he's even searching for Asmo right now, but he is, and he's going to get himself a cookbook, and so that might be his way to deal with the Drawthy Infiltrators. He might just generate a lot of food right now, or at least attempt to do so, and that might be his way to at least kill both of those and get himself a better clock. The problem is he needs a fleeting Daredevil to even generate that sort of value.
But he does not have that right now, and I don't think he has any cards in his hand. So, I mean, he's top decking, and I think Adam might be top decking as well. Oh no, he's got one card. The last thing he did was play those 2 Esper Sentinels. He threw the limp wrist. Adam is drawing. He has 18 lives, and it looks like he's gonna be trying to. I guess he might just swing in. His opponent only has 8 lives.
There's no reason for him not to.
Oh, he played the thought. Wait, is that the thought?
Yep, that's Thoughtseize. So he got rid of that food token. Oh no, he got rid of the eating Daredevil. So that's gone. There's no reason for Adam not to swing right now with his Droth the Infiltrators. Get in for 6 more damage. The only things he won't swing in with are his Esper Sentinels currently. They're 1/1s versus that Asmo, which is a 3/3. So that's just not a good value.
Yep, there he goes. He's swinging in with both of them right now. And of course, the Asmo can block one of them, but not the other.
The Asmo can't. Asmo doesn't have Shadow.
Oh, you're completely right. He took the damage. He's at 2 lives right now. Oh, that Shadow's strong. Oh, I like it.
So right now,
he's got that cloak of invincibility.
Hopefully. Right now, he's going to search his deck for a cookbook and put it automatically into play. He did generate a construct also with it, which is perfectly fine. The problem is, again,
it doesn't have Shadow.
It doesn't have Shadow. He has to find a way to deal with both of those Droth the Infiltrators right now.
Oh man, that card is bad. Woohoo! Oh man, this Adam right here, this Adam put in quite a bit of work. I actually enjoyed watching this man play. I really did.
Adam's always entertained to watch. He usually does the same thing I do every week, and that's come with a different deck. Either be brew or be something mainstream. We both like to switch it up a little bit, and that's how we both kind of philosophize very well on that, is we both like to play different decks in order to get better at the game.
Yep, that's how you got to do it. You got to play different decks. I mean, seeing a whole bunch of decks, yes, you can get better that way as well. But when you're playing these decks, you're actually seeing its weaknesses. You're seeing its strengths. So whenever you're facing it, it's better, it's easier to play around and easier to, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do this because I know your deck can't do that type deal. Oh, man. So, I mean, this is it right here. He's got a construct. I'm assuming it's a 5/5.
Yep.
He's got 5/5, but it doesn't have Shadow. If he passes turn that, yep, he threw it. He threw it. Oh my goodness, he couldn't do anything. It's the Shadow.
Yeah, those Droth the Infiltrators can be real mean.
Oh man, that cloak of invincibility put in work. Oh, Adam did a phenomenal job. Well, we already know Adam going undefeated. I think Adam went undefeated. Adam is going to be first place. But once we go into a break, whenever we come back, we're going to go ahead and announce top 4 for our locals here at Lotus Gaming Shop. And then we'll go ahead and bid adieu to everybody. But right now, guys, that was the end of the finals. Stay tuned if you want to hear the tops. This is your boy, PR Sight.
All right, Carl heading out, guys. See you in a minute.
And this is Mount Gall, Magic the Gathering at Lotus. We'll be back with the standings. Yo, what's happening, Magic players? I'm back. We're back. I'm PR Soin.
Carl, guys.
And we got the standings for you. And of course, Carl, he's got them memorized for you. So go ahead, Carl. Take it away, player.
So we got Adam, of course, as we discussed earlier, taking it with 4-0. Then we have Jay doing 3-1, followed up by Dan earlier, who also got it 3-1. And then finishing out, I believe, is Ari Jones, finishing out with 2-1-1. So that is our top 4 standings for tonight. We saw 3 of those decks. We saw Ari with his Izzet. We saw Jay, of course, with his Jeskai. And then last but not least, we did see Adam, of course, using the rack. We didn't get a chance to see Dan on screen tonight. He managed to avoid the screen capture, but he was playing 5-color humans, surprisingly enough, which also would have been a welcome sight to see here on the stream. So.
Oh, no, definitely. I know. That even sounds amazing to watch. Well, that was your top 4, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I don't know what Lotus is going to do. I know definitely if you guys can, shout outs to Lily. Give your shout outs. Make sure you throw a thumbs up and let her know that what she's doing in the community is actually welcome. She got me here. Of course, like I said before, I'm not going to be able to commentate for Magic for the next 2 weeks. But then after those 2 weeks, I'll pick up again, come back PR Science style, and commentate for more modern Magic the Gathering, guys, and we'll see where it takes from there. I know I'm gonna call this guy every time I come to commentate because he just makes it so it's just so smooth, and then with the interactions and you having the card knowledge, I learn a lot from you, man. I really do.
Appreciate it.
So there you have it, guys. You have any last words you want to say to the guys?
No, I just look forward to seeing what happens next week. We may be back next week. We may not. Toss up right now. So we'll see how it goes, guys.
Fingers crossed. Well, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream as much as we've had commentating it. I'm your boy, your hype boy, PR Sign.
Carl, see you guys later.
UBI.